Live broadcast of Naruto begins with the movie The Death of Naruto. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 676. The exposed Otsutsuki provided the people of the ninja world with another topic for after-dinner gossip, but the wave did not last long and soon subsided in people's daily lives. The reason for this is that in addition to the time when the last episode of the Sky Curtain happened, it was too long ago, and more importantly, it was because people's vision and knowledge were constantly improving and watching movies again and again. And the evaluation and analysis of the two Otsutsuki were basically expressed through the discussion of the last bullet screen, so people naturally would not always focus on the two Otsutsuki who were defeated by Naruto, Sasuke and the Five Cage. If you have that time, you might as well recall the fear of being dominated by Uchiha Madara. At least this is a native local. It is enough to step on the two outsiders who ran to the ninja world to show off their power but were beaten like dogs. Of course, not everyone took the Otsutsuki seriously. Apart from the intelligence agencies of various countries, if we talk about who in the ninja world is most concerned about Otsutsuki, it is naturally Hyuga. Unfortunately, Hyuga's investigation direction of another bloodline was wrong from the beginning, not to mention that there is very little information about another bloodline, so Hyuga naturally cannot obtain any valuable clues for the investigation of Otsutsuki. The turmoil in the ninja world did not disturb Naruto's training journey at all. In the cycle of tasks, training and rest, Naruto moved forward as fast as a clockwork. In just 1 year, he completed the one-handed display of the spiral shuriken and the complete liberation of the nine-tailed fox. And by opening the seal, Naruto naturally saw the chakra of Minato and Kushina sealed in his body, realizing his long-cherished dream of meeting his parents. After fulfilling his wish, Naruto was extremely relaxed and smooth both physically and mentally. He then began to practice the Nine Tails and Sage transformation. I believe that it won't take long before he can fully grasp the changes in these two forms. It is worth mentioning that during this period, Naruto went to the land of demons to help Shen eliminate the demons, but during this process, the two did not get along very well. The reason is that due to the lack of common adventure experiences, Naruto's empathy for Shen could not offset Shen's savagery, and finally the two parted unhappily, leaving Jiraiya speechless. If it weren't for that little girl Hinata, with the way you treat girls, you would definitely be single for life. On the other hand, Sasuke and Itachi's investigation journey did not make much progress. Let alone how much information the Uchiha has lost in the continuous migration and reproduction over the past thousands of years. Even if it has been preserved, the source can only be traced back to the Six-Path Sage at most, and don't expect to get any clues about Otsutsuki from it. Even if there are sporadic records that mention the Otsutsuki, Black Zetsu, who has been lurking in the ninja world for thousands of years, will definitely erase the most important and critical parts. In this case, how likely are Itachi and Sasuke to find out the truth about the Otsutsuki? After all, even Uchiha Madara has been kept in the dark. The investigation has made little progress, and Sasuke is not like Naruto in terms of strength growth, who makes progress almost every day. Limited by the growth of the Mangekyo, Sasuke's pupil power cannot be enhanced for the time being, and the development of the Chidori series of ninjutsu has also reached a bottleneck. Therefore, Sasuke can only continue to familiarize himself with the existing means and strive to use 1 point of chakra to achieve 2 points of effect. Fortunately, because of the good cooperation with Orochimaru before, Sasuke can get some help from him. Although the plan to obtain the Eternal Mangekyo through cloning has not yet shown any signs of success, Orochimaru's recent research on Hashirama cells has yielded some new results, and this result can be used on Sasuke, allowing him to ignore the side effects of the Mangekyo for a short period of time. As for the price Sasuke paid to obtain this result, I have nothing to say. The Sky Curtain was only shown 3 times this year. Although the specific content also involved the past or future activities of some masters, as mentioned before, everyone's vision has been improved. Therefore, in addition to increasing the workload of the intelligence team, the discussion it caused did not last long. There was only one person, who was always nervous when the Sky Curtain was lit up again and again, fearing that his plan and identity would appear on the Sky Curtain. He was Black Zetsu, who was running around to revive Kaguya. The increasing pressure made Black Zetsu almost sleeplessly looking for Obito's traces, and his actions became more and more aggressive. There were even several times when he caused quite a stir and attracted the attention of some people in the black market. Black Zetsu was very worried about this. Of course, he would not care. In his opinion, although he was not strong in combat, he was the best in hiding and escaping. He said that there was no first in the second ninja world, and some cats and dogs who made a living in the black market could not touch him. Even if Uchiha Madara was resurrected, Black Zetsu was confident that he could say something from the bottom of his heart to him. Perhaps only when Otsutsuki took action could he completely ignore his ability. Based on this idea, while Black Zetsu was looking for Obito, he was also consciously collecting everything to deal with Otsutsuki. Ninjutsu secrets, blood limit, ninjutsu relics and unknown tools were all within his scope of investigation. After a period of time, he collected a lot of things, but either Black Zetsu could not use them, or Black Zetsu did not know the function, or Black Zetsu could not use them and did not know the function. In short, since he could feel that these items contained a lot of energy, Black Zetsu temporarily collected them. Perhaps when Kaguya was resurrected later, some of them would come in handy. Then on this day, on a high mountain with dense trees, Black Zetsu found Obito, who was untidy and unkempt, in a secret cave near the mountainside. "What are you crazy about, Obito? Have you forgotten Madara and your dream? Have you been hiding here for so long?" Black Zetsu was immediately furious. Since the failure of the raid on Greyer Institute and Sand Village, Black Zetsu and Obito's contact has been completely cut off. Who can understand how bad his mood and how much pressure he has been under during this period of time? If there is no need for Obito's help now, Black Zetsu would like to possess him directly to complete his plan. Restraining his anger, Black Zetsu slowed down his tone and said sincerely, "I know that you are a little discouraged because you failed to capture the tailed beast, but we are not completely hopeless. As long as we can revive Madara, everything will go smoothly, so you pack up immediately, and we will go to the Hidden Rain village now, and use the backup left by Madara to control Nagato." As soon as they met, Obito heard Black Zetsu say this long paragraph, but his eyes were unusually calm, which formed a sharp contrast with his unkempt appearance. Looking at Black Zetsu, Obito asked in a flat voice, "You have also seen the sky curtain during this period of time, so let me ask you, why do you think that the backup left by Madara can still work when you already know his layout? Do you think Nagato will not be prepared at all?" Chapter 677. You don't have to worry about this. Madara had expected Nagato to find out his plan, so the backup plan he left behind is not so easy to get rid of. Black Zetsu said confidently, "Even if Nagato really found a way to crack it, as long as you deal with him, with my concealment ability, it is not difficult to get close to control him, and then I can naturally activate the Samsara natural technique. Is that so? Now, please answer my second question." Obito looked at Black Zetsu with cold eyes, knowing that it was Madara's plan. "Do you think I will still move in the direction he pointed?" "What? You?" Black Zetsu instantly remembered the episode when Obito's truth was exposed. After cursing inwardly, he said the reason he had prepared long ago with a normal expression. "You are not influenced by the speculation of those ignorant people, are you? You can see it yourself." At that time, Madara was able to survive only by relying on the life extension of the Outer Path Demon statue. The only power he could control was those White Zetsu. Do you think that with the power of White Zetsu, he could influence Kirigakure, one of the 5 major ninja villages, to implement that plan? Black Zetsu said it with confidence, but if Obito did anything wrong, it would immediately activate the talisman buried in his heart by Madara, and at the same time, it was ready to escape underground. At this time, part of its feet that touched the ground had already drilled into the ground, and it could cut off its tail and escape at any time. I am not smart, but I am not stupid. I can still understand the logic of those people's reasoning, but it doesn't matter whether it is Madara's conspiracy. Anyway, I am no longer interested in Infinite Tsukuyomi." Obito replied with a look of relief. "Not interested? So, you don't want to seal in anymore?" Black Zetsu said, while actively disconnecting the part of his body hidden underground, allowing it to drill deeper, but soon, his dark and expressionless face showed a look of shock. "Of course I want to see Lin, but compared to the infinite Tsukuyomi proposed by Madara, I think the limited Tsukuyomi developed by myself and under my control is obviously safer," Obito said calmly, looking at the yellow eyes of Black Zetsu who showed fear after losing the ability to move. "Don't waste your energy. The cave we are in including the space around you, has been sealed by me. This is a byproduct of my research on limited moon reading during this period of time. My understanding of time and space has been greatly enhanced. Zell, as the half of Uchiha Madara, you seem to be too confident in your original body. Why do you think you can still calculate Nagato when everything is almost exposed? Why do you think I will still obey your orders? Whether it is the samsara eye or the talisman in my heart, there is no bondage in this world that cannot be removed. So, your mission is over. After that, I will dig out everything you know, Kamui. The rotating space vortex instantly encompassed the entire cave where Obito was. Black Zetsu disappeared without resistance along the distortion of space. The indestructible power of space directly wiped off a layer of rock and soil, expanding the volume of the cave by several points. Stopping Kamui, Obito walked out of the cave specially prepared for ambushing Black Zetsu. Looking at the dazzling sunlight in the sky, Obito sighed imperceptibly. The power of time and space is not enough. I hope that the memory of this half of Madara can play a role for me. As soon as the voice fell, the sky that had been motionless suddenly lit up, and a sharp roar came from it. Obito looked in the direction of the sound, and his expression suddenly became a little dazed. Is it this time again? So that's it, the plot starts from here, so the next is the defeat of Madara and me. As if it were some kind of omen, the moon shone with dazzling red light. Naruto, Kakashi, the Eight Tails, and Kai, who was exhausted in his palm, all looked at the huge one-eyed monster in front of them in horror. It was none other than the fully resurrected collection of tailed beasts, the Ten Tails. The short moment seemed as long as several days. With the appearance of the Ten Tails, a shock without warning spread from it, and the smoke and dust that covered the sky and the sun rushed in all directions. Uchiha Madara and Obito avoided the impact and came to the Ten Tails. Naruto and others instantly tensed their bodies and let the smoke and dust blow by. Then they raised their attention and stared at the Ten Tails with a mouth full of fangs and a ferocious face in front of them. Opening critical hit. The Ten Tails came up right away. Great. It's the sequel to the previous 4 wars. Finally, we can see how our coalition won. I can't get enough of the content of the recent Shyammu. Sure enough, it can't be done if the protagonist is not Naruto. Nonsense. The story of the Tsuchikage-sama's past in the last issue is also very exciting. It's just because Naruto appeared more often that everyone has a preconceived impression. If the first few issues of Tenmu were shown now, everyone would still not be satisfied. The malicious chakra on the golem has obviously disappeared. How could it be? Naruto looked at the Ten Tails in front of him with reluctance, and Kakashi's face was also ugly. Inside Naruto's body, the nine-tailed fox sat cross-legged on the ground, and explained with a serious expression, that thing can't be defined by the concept of emotion at all, it can't be perceived. Facing Naruto's puzzled eyes, the nine-tailed fox explained, that thing is just like the feeling of soil, water and air in normal times. It is the natural energy circulating in this world. If you use the sage mode to perceive it, you will understand it clearly. Capturing the key words in the nine-tailed fox's words, Naruto did not hesitate to sit cross-legged directly, trying to find out the details of the ten-tailed fox by sensing natural energy. The nine-tailed fox looked at Naruto's actions and said helplessly, "Forget it, Naruto, even if you explore, you will only get the result of infinity." The situation is indeed as the nine-tailed fox said. In Naruto's perception, the ten-tailed fox in front of him is almost like the planet itself. A huge amount of energy gathers on its body, just like the airflow surrounding the surface of the planet. Seeing this, Naruto pretended to be calm, but the cold sweat and stiff smile on his face could not fool anyone. "Hey, this is not funny at all." "What do you mean?" I didn't quite understand the nine-tails explanation. "I don't really understand either. Isn't it an aggregate of tailed beasts? How did it become natural energy?" And in Naruto's hallucination, the ten tails was seen as a planet. Could it be that the ten tails body is the earth under our feet? No, no, no. Don't expand its concept without permission. Natural energy is natural energy. Don't equate it with the earth, okay? Chapter 678. 2 catheters with wood textures extended from the skin of the ten tails and pierced into the back of Uchiha Madara and Obito's necks. The two looked calm and expressed their own ideas about the next action. I wanted to catch them before the ten tails resurrected, but I didn't expect them to be so capable. Although he praised him, there was no emotion on Uchiha Madara's face. Obito had no intention of exploring his inner thoughts and said bluntly, I will start the ceremony of infinite moon reading immediately. That big illusion takes some time to summon the moon. Those people will hinder the spell. It will be convenient for us to deal with them first. What do you think? Uchiha Madara glanced at Obito, who turned his head slightly and mocked him unceremoniously. Madara, you just want to try the power of the 10 tails, just like a child. Feeling his aggressiveness, Uchiha Madara responded meaningfully, you are wrong. The impatient and impatient are more like children. Is there anyone I think? Obito's attitude towards Uchiha Madara is very rude. Maybe he feels that he has grown wings. Judging from the twists and turns in Uchiha Madara's resurrection plan, Obito should have long had the idea of leaving him behind and completing the infinite Tsukuyomi plan alone. Obito was not wrong about Uchiha Madara. He really likes to show off his strength. When he fought against the coalition forces before, he seemed to be showing off his skills. From this point of view, he is indeed very similar to a child. In fact, I had a question before. In the infinite Tsukuyomi plan that these two are currently carrying out, do they include themselves in the dreamers at the end? I don't know about Uchiha Madara, but Obito should be included. Otherwise, why would he go to such great lengths? Isn't it just to make Rin come back to life in his dream? In that case, why do we have to do it now? Just rush to be the leader and follow Uchiha Madara's instructions. If Uchiha Madara is the leader, at least we have to wait until he is fully resurrected. In this case, it is no wonder that Obito rejects him. After all, if he performs the Samsara technique, Obito will have to sacrifice his life. Normal people will not do such a loss-making business. Uchiha Madara should have a backup plan. I feel that his response to Obito is implicit. After the words fell, the 10 tails, under the control of Uchiha Madara, swung its arms and dragged its huge body towards Naruto and the other 4. The movement itself produced a violent impact and raised enough dust to cover the sky. The 8 tails looked at the scene in front of him and asked a little panic, hey, the incredible guy is coming. Do we really have a chance of winning? If you escape, can you hide in the octopus pot peacefully? With just one sentence, the 8-tailed beast dispelled his fluke. The 9-tailed beast said to the people around him, by the way, before that, give me the one called Kai first, I will recover him later, and Naruto and Kakashi. Under the command of the 9-tailed beast, Kakashi, Kai and a shadow clone of Naruto fell into the mouth of the 9-tailed beast. The 9-tailed beast treated and recovered them while making arrangements for the next battle. Listen, first keep a distance and see how it moves, then avoid attacks according to its movements, and let it hit a big move at close range, that's it. Feeling the constantly recovering power in his body, watching the 2-tailed beasts raise their tails and struggle to resist the whistling wind from the outside world, listening to the battle arrangements of the 9-tailed beast, Kakashi sighed sincerely, the 9-tailed beast is like a captain. What? Do you have any objections? The arrogant 9 tails shouted angrily, and Kakashi did not continue to tease him, and responded with a smile, no, I just feel a little happy. Be happy. Wait until you win before you're happy. Go. The 9 tails shouted loudly, and together with the 8 tails, they rushed towards the huge amount of smoke and dust that was rolling on them. Without the support of the 9 tails, Kakashi and Kai would have fallen down long ago. The reason they can fight until now is entirely due to the 9 tails chakra. This is the first time I feel that the 9 tails huge body is so reliable. It can fight, carry, recover and command, it is simply a natural leader. Don't exaggerate too much, the 9 tails battle arrangement is just standard, and it mainly relies on its strength to maintain the battle situation. Then what else? An opponent like the 10 tails, without relying on strength, you don't really think you can defeat it with strategy. Kakashi, what's wrong with you? Don't you know how to read the atmosphere? Don't you know that Jiuwei is shy and easily embarrassed? What nonsense are you talking about? Facing the natural disaster in front of us, we can still maintain this mentality. As expected, everyone who can. It's not easy for masters who have made a name for themselves in the ninja world. Ha. Isn't it just a compliment from teacher Kakashi? Are you so shy, Kurama? Naruto followed Jiraiya with his head in his hands, teasing the 9 tails in his body as he moved forward. What did you say? You can see that I'm shy with your eyes. When I was active in the ninja world, Kakashi's ancestors didn't even know where they were feeding. I would be shy because of a word from this kid. Without the barrier of the sealed gate, the 9 tails directly sprayed saliva on Naruto's face, and then kicked Naruto out of the consciousness space in dissatisfaction. which made Naruto more convinced that the Nine-Tails was just shy. Unexpectedly, before the two-tailed beasts ran far, a giant hand with the same wood texture instantly tore through the smoke and dust and hit them heavily, knocking the two-tailed beasts out without any resistance. Compared with Naruto and others with solemn faces, the Nine-Tails and the Eight-Tails had expected this. After using the attack of the Ten-Tails to pull away, they simultaneously released continuous tailed beast balls to attack each other remotely. Uchiha Madara and Obito, standing on the head of the Ten-Tails, calmly watched dozens of tailed beast balls coming towards them. They didn't need to control it. Relying on instinct, the Ten-Tails used the same attack method. With the support of the almost endless energy in its body, high-density chakra erupted from its mouth in the form of a beam cannon. The dark red beam cannon instantly engulfed the Nine-Tails and Eight-Tails tailed beast balls, and with a swing of the Ten-Tails head, the beam cannon swept across the battlefield and hit the two-tailed beasts that were curled up into two balls with their tails as protection. Hiss. Although I saw that the Ten-Tails was very large before, I didn't expect it to be this big. A palm is almost as big as a tailed beast. Chapter 679. With this size, even if it stands still and lets people hit it, if the attack range is not large enough, it will probably be exhausted and have no effect on it. The tailed beast ball, the ultimate move of the tailed beasts, has almost become a regular skill on this battlefield. There is no way. If the attack power is not enough, it may not even be able to break the defense. And even if it breaks the defense, I don't believe that the recovery ability of the Ten-Tails will be worse than that of the Nine-Tails. Oh my god. This energy cannon is too big. And it seems that the Ten-Tails can attack it as soon as it opens its mouth. After all, the Nine-Tails used the word infinite to describe the energy in the Ten-Tails before. Having a lot of energy is one thing, the key is that this output is too amazing. Such a strong attack, almost without charging, can be used at will. The tailed beast balls of the Eight-Tails and the Nine-Tails are like bubbles. It was destroyed directly. If the Ten-Tails had come a few more times, I don't think anyone on the battlefield would have been able to continue standing. It wouldn't have taken much effort to clear other obstacles and then perform the infinite Tsukuyomi ritual. Thanks to Obito and Uchiha Madara, they didn't agree with each other's ideas. If the two had no grudges, I can't imagine how much power the Ten-Tails could have burst out now. Just use your body to resist it. Can you block it? By the way, did I see it wrong? Why is it the Eight-Tails that blocked the Nine-Tails? That's right, and Killer Bee seemed to have said something. Did he come up with a plan? After the violent explosion, the Nine-Tails lost a large part of its nine tails. The Eight-Tails, which had suffered the first wave of attacks, was blown to the point where only one octopus leg remained. Kai's face suddenly changed when he saw this, but Naruto at the side spoke in time to calm him down. Then, amid the Nine-Tails' praise, Kakashi, escorted by Naruto's shadow clone, arrived above the Ten-Tails. Before Uchiha Madara and Obito could react, he activated Kamui and released a huge octopus leg. Everyone who knew the Eight-Tails' ability immediately showed a delighted expression, and then saw the octopus leg quickly grow into the Eight-Tails, and the tailed beast ball in its mouth was aimed at the Ten-Tails' eyes and fired suddenly. Take it. With everyone's expectations, the tailed beast ball spit out by the Eight-Tails suddenly came to the Ten-Tails' eyes. Unexpectedly, the Ten-Tails once again raised his hand and flicked his finger at a speed that was completely disproportionate to his body size, flicking the tailed beast ball directly onto the Eight-Tails, and blasting it away in a violent explosion. At the same time, under the control of Uchiha Madara, a huge tail smashed into Kakashi and Naruto's shadow clones, who were unable to dodge in the air. With a perception of the Sage Mode, Naruto's shadow clone immediately noticed the attack behind him. When there was no way to avoid it, Naruto's shadow clone stretched out his hand and pushed Kakashi out of the attack range, and he himself turned into smoke and dissipated into the air in an instant under a huge force. Tisk. With the Eight-Tails blocking it, the Nine-Tails' tails are all broken. I'm more convinced now that if the Ten-Tails wants to, it should be able to easily kill Naruto and the others. Octopus legs. I remember this seems to be from Killer Bee. Relying on the disguise of octopus legs to get close to the enemy. Well done. What surprised me even more was Kakashi's Kamui. He could only absorb other objects not long ago, but once he figured out that it was paired with Obito's Mangekyo, he could immediately act on himself and release objects, and it was something as big as the Eight-Tails. Here we go, let's see how the attack works. Even if the Ten-Tails is strong, it would definitely not be a good thing if a tailed beast ball hit the eye. Nanny. It was deflected. Oh my god. With his size, this reaction and speed are too fast. Wow, it took a lot of effort to create a close-range opportunity. What a pity. The power is so great, if it can hit the 10 tails, it will definitely be effective. The speed is really fast. Kakashi didn't react at all. If it weren't for Naruto's shadow clone, Kakashi might have fallen under the 10 tails tail now. Taking a full view of everything happening in the sky, the familiar scene made Obito involuntarily think of himself, who died in battle to save Kakashi in the cave. Naruto, you and I are very similar. Obito looked at Naruto's shadow clone coldly and said, "You are just younger and more immature than me." One day, after bringing back Kakashi with his extended chakra arm and catching the 8 tails that was blasted all over, Naruto's tailed beast transformation could no longer hold up and collapsed open up. Kurama. Why did you fail at the critical moment? Naruto complained to the 9 tails anxiously, but the 9 tails ignored him and muttered to himself, "I lasted 8 minutes, a little longer than before, but it's already reached the limit." As he spoke, the 9 tails took a posture to refine chakra, and said to Naruto, "Wait for me to refine chakra first. You guys can delay for a while. Without my chakra, you have no chance of winning." At the same time, the 8 tails, which had also reached its limit, also retracted into Killer Bee's body. Together with Kai, who collapsed on the ground, and Kakashi, who was exhausted after transmitting the 8 tails, Naruto and his companions' combat power fell directly to the bottom. The fact that Obito would think of the past shows that he still cares about it. The scene where Naruto saved Kakashi was so vivid. Tisk, I don't know how to fight next. After a round of attacks, the enemy is fine. The 8 tails is seriously injured, Naruto's tailed beast transformation has reached its limit, Kakashi's chakra is severely depleted, and Kai has never gotten up. How should we fight next? From the current situation, it seems that Naruto has played all his cards. Then we can only hope for a miracle. Maybe this is the embodiment of the title of the Child of Prophecy. Naruto saw the current situation and knew that he and others could not hide their status from the enemy. Despite this, Naruto did not show any discouragement on his face. He turned around and made a hand seal of the shadow clone with a firm look in his eyes. Are you going to use your best shadow clone again? Although it is a forbidden advanced ninjutsu, it will only increase the number of useless people. Uchiha Madara looked at Naruto's actions with contempt, and Naruto gave his own answer without thinking, "I am not useless." Chapter 680. Although he was very pleased that Naruto could always maintain his high will, Kakashi had to pour cold water on him at this time and persuaded Naruto not to waste his chakra on the shadow clone. It's just a mob after all. Uchiha Madara continued his ridicule, and after finding that Naruto didn't even understand what he said, he was more certain of his thoughts. At this time, Obito interrupted and said, "What I mean is that even if there are more people, it will be useless without matching power. Naruto, you and I are both incompetent, and sooner or later, no, everyone will become like me sooner or later. I will not become like you. How many times do I have to say it before you understand? I want to be the Hokage." Naruto shouted. "Don't worry, everything will go smoothly. No ninjutsu can defeat the infinite Tsukuyomi. I can make you become the Hokage in this jutsu, so." Obito completely ignored Naruto's response and said to himself, "Disappear with this world." Tisk tisk, Uchiha Madara should just be using words to attack Naruto? He shouldn't think that Naruto is really a waste from the bottom of his heart, right? If Naruto is a waste, then how many people in the ninja world can be in Uchiha Madara's eyes? Don't you think that everyone except him is a waste? Of course, it must be Senju Hashirama. This can be seen from the number of times Uchiha Madara mentioned him. Ha ha ha. Is it because the first generation of Hokage defeated him, so Uchiha Madara has been obsessed with it, so that other people can't be in his eyes? Naruto is naturally not related to waste, but in this case, the shadow clone does not really play any role, not to mention according to Naruto, judging from his past performance, his shadow clones, I know. Obito seems to want to convince Naruto with words, repeating what he said to Naruto several times. Because he thinks Naruto is very similar to him, he wants to convince him to prove that he did nothing wrong. Isn't that the case in those novels? Tisk. So far, Naruto has never lost to anyone in verbal debates. Even Nagato, who couldn't give a specific answer, Naruto could persuade the other party in a roundabout way, not to mention Obito's untenable arguments, saying that everyone is incompetent and will definitely become like him. I don't know how he came to this conclusion. After the words fell, the Ten Tails opened its mouth and fired a dark red beam cannon. Kakashi and others tensed their nerves and were about to make the final resistance, but when the beam cannon hit them, it suddenly deviated at a large angle and passed by them, flew into the distance and flattened several mountains along the way. The unexpected result made Obito snort coldly, and he glared at the spiritual power wrapped around his body. At the same time, Ino, who was held by Hinata, fell from the sky and said in disbelief, "The most accurate heart turn with the help of the Byakugan was cancelled in just 2 seconds. You have done a great job in deflecting the attack of that big guy in such a short time." Hinata Hayashi, who followed closely, comforted him. With the appearance of several people, subsequent reinforcements also arrived one after another. "Just now I was thinking about how to block this beam cannon. I was scared to death. The miracle didn't happen, but reinforcements came. I'm not trying to boost others' morale, but I always feel a little mysterious. Can the combined strength of other ninjas really defeat the Ten Tails? Now I can't stand just watching through the sky screen. What will happen if a war really breaks out? Look at Ino, didn't she change the situation in her own way? Just now Ino controlled Obito, so we actually just need to defeat Uchiha Madara and Obito, and after we deal with them, we can think about how to deal with the Ten Tails. Anyway, Ino did a great job. These 2 short seconds may be the opportunity for victory later." "Huh? I feel so stressed just watching." Ino exhaled deeply. She was really a little bit unbelievable that she could appear in such a battlefield in the future and play a key role. The Aburane clan and the Kurigakure ninjas arrived first, using the mushy evil Minoku technique and the Kurigakure technique to instantly create a fog that covered the entire battlefield, protecting the subsequent large forces from landing smoothly on their own positions. Accompanied by the reports received by the coalition headquarters, 5 main forces and 2 auxiliary forces appeared one after another, and then in the clash between the wind pressure brought by the Ten Tails and the wind-style ninjas of the Sand Village, the thick fog instantly dissipated, revealing the current a full view of the coalition's position. Countless figures stood behind Naruto. Naruto kept the hand seal of the shadow clone and laughed with high morale. "This is not a mob now. What you see now is the art of the ninja coalition. This is the highest and strongest super ninjutsu in the history of the ninja world. It is better than the infinite moon reading. Wake up." Who doubted that the coalition would not work just now? Seeing such a scene, I wanted to rush into the sky and bite the Ten Tails hard. Damn. It's just a group of people standing together, but I'm so excited. Oh. That's it, let the 2 Uchiha lunatics on the opposite side see the power of unity. Tisk, Naruto, how can this kid talk so well? What ninja coalition art, it's really embarrassing to hear. But I still think, forget it, I can see such a spectacular scene, even if I die in the battle next, I have no regrets. Bullshit. It is our coalition that will win the war in the future. Just like Naruto said, this is the strongest ninjutsu. Infinite Tsukuyomi wants to defeat us, the 3rd Hokage. That kid who only knows how to make trouble and play pranks has perfectly inherited the will of fire. Tsunade, huh? Naruto always wants to show off whenever he has the chance. Unoki, will the future ninja world unite around that kid? It feels like a dream. But even I myself is like that, it will be difficult for others to refuse. Rikijai, Tisk. That kid who kneels down casually, isn't it some brainwashing ninjutsu used by Konoha? Madarumi, the more I look at this little guy, the more I like him. It's a pity that he is too young. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 681. Gaara, I can't lose to you, Naruto. Minato, that's great. You have far exceeded my expectations of you, Naruto. Nagato, you have united everyone together. It's worthy of you, Uzumaki Naruto. Jiraiya's face flushed, and he stopped and patted Naruto's shoulder, trying to suppress his excitement. No wonder Jiraiya's emotions fluctuated so much. This scene on the sky was simply the embodiment of his dream. If he hadn't been concerned about his image, he would even want to cheer loudly now. The dazed Naruto came back to his senses after being patted by Jiraiya. He first glanced at Jiraiya, then moved his eyes back to the sky, with a bright smile on his face. The jutsu of the Ninja Alliance is so cool. This spectacular scene made Obito slightly stunned, but Uchiha Madara couldn't help laughing and mocked Naruto's nonsense. Naruto was not moved at all and still said firmly, "We will use this ninjutsu to stop you." "No. It's meaningless even if we stop us. Why don't you understand?" Obito said expressionlessly, "This jutsu will definitely fall apart after this battle, and then some of you will repeat our mistakes. In this world, no matter how you struggle, you are doomed to fail. Look clearly, there is no hope in this world." At the end, Obito's expression gradually became ferocious. Hearing this, Naruto pursed his lips and said without giving in, "No matter what you say, I firmly believe that there must be hope." "Humph. You actually look down on our ninja alliance technique. Uchiha Madara, a loser, dares to be so arrogant. Hey. You can cheer up, but don't be arrogant. Even if the alliance wins in the end, Uchiha Madara's strength is not fake. Before you say that kind of big talk, think about whether your body can withstand the attack of the meteorite. Going from one extreme to another. Tisk, Obito is really not good." He only said a few words, and he couldn't predict the development after the battle. The effect of the Ninja Alliance technique in the future is very good. From this point, we can see how outrageous his thoughts are. He just takes it for granted that he thinks he's right, but he insists that others support his plan. The conversation between the two was extremely boring to Uchiha Madara, so under his urging, Naruto took the initiative to stop the current topic and asked jokingly, "When there is a disagreement, the minority usually obeys the majority. What do you think?" "Good idea, then, just wipe out all of you, and then." Obito responded with a sneer, and Naruto showed an expected expression on his face. "Is it really the same, but?" After a moment of silence, Obito and Naruto shouted in unison, "This world. Obito, I want to end it completely." And Naruto, "It won't end here." As if it was a signal to start a war, the coalition suddenly burst into a deafening shout, and then set off at the same time, landing in different directions in an orderly manner and aiming at the 10 tails in front. Naruto's idea is good, the minority obeys the majority, but unfortunately, both opponents are people who do what they want. Obito is fine, it's mainly for Rin, but Madara, if his ideal is really peace, then he really won't listen to other people's opinions. Where does he get the confidence to think that his ideas must be correct? Humph. He is a descendant of the Six-Path Sage, but after all, the conclusion that Uchiha Madara pursues peace itself gives people a very outrageous feeling. I would rather believe that he actually has other plans. Anything is fine, the final battle has finally begun, and it will be soon know the truth of everything. You have bought a lot of time. Well done, Naruto. At this time, Narashikaku's voice came into Naruto's mind through Yamanaka Inochi's spiritual secret technique. "Thanks to you, we have conveyed the next tactics in detail to everyone. According to the intelligence, the enemy has very powerful eyes, so the first step is to disrupt the opponent's vision and use sleight of hand to delay its actions." Everyone in Kumagakure. Under Yamanaka Inochi's connection, Narashikaku's command was conveyed to the Kumagakure ninjas on the battlefield without delay. The Perception Ninjas led a group of Kumagakure ninjas to perform the Lightning Release Lightning Pillar. At the same time, Daru led another group of Kumagakure ninjas. The combination of Storm Release and the two filled the entire field of vision of the 10 tails, Uchiha Madara, and Obito with dazzling light. Narashikaku continued to command, "Next, wrap the mist of the Mist Ninja and the insects of the Aburame, as well as the dust raised by Storm Release, in the airflow and manipulate them. Everyone from the Sand Village, now is the time." Temari and a group of Sand Ninjas stepped forward and performed Wind Release, airflow dance to blow a gust of wind towards the 10 tails. Looking at the dust that covered everything in front of them and feeling the irregular airflow around them, Uchiha Madara and Obito saw the dense chakra of insects wrapped in the airflow through the perspective of the Sharingan. Although I don't know where the coalition headquarters is, I can contact certain specific people on the battlefield in this situation. Konoha's Yamanaka Inochi actually has this level of spiritual power. Well, I know they are there. If I'm not mistaken, what Yamanaka Inochi is wearing on his head should be the spiritual power amplifier developed by our Kumagakure. In addition, he is good at spiritual ninjutsu, so it's not outrageous to do such a thing. I've never seen such a thing before. Kumagakure and Tsunagakure, under the command of Konoha, fought against the enemy, and it seems that the effect is quite good. The command is too strong. If you don't understand, then ask, is this command level very high? In my opinion, it's just a very ordinary arrangement. Yamanaka Inoichi, who is responsible for transmitting information, and the ninja who is responsible for the attack are obviously more important. You don't understand this. Judging from the conversation between Naruto and Naruto just now, there was not much time to formulate this attack plan. To be able to familiarize himself with the ninjutsu that the ninjas of each village are good at in such a short time, and to use it in actual combat in a blink of an eye, this level of command may be less than one hand in the ninja world. Chapter 682. Both their vision and perception were taken away, but Uchiha Madara and Obito did not show any panic on their faces, because they knew very well that as long as the Ten Tails exerted a little force, all obstacles in front of them would disappear instantly. Naruto naturally considered this, so in order to prevent the Ten Tails from counterattacking, there was no rest time in this battle from the beginning. Everyone from Iwagakure, take action. At the command, Wang-Tu led a group of Iwagakure ninjas to perform Earth Release, Earthquake Core, instantly creating a huge deep pit, causing the Ten Tails to fall into it before it could react. Then Kuratsuchi led another group of Iwagakure ninjas to rush to the edge of the deep pit and use the Dissolution Release, Lime Condensation technique towards it, and the overwhelming lime fell on the Ten Tails. Everyone from Kirigakure, follow up. A group of Kirigakure ninjas followed closely behind, pouring out the water-style, water bullet technique that fell into the lime and mixed into cement. Then the next order was conveyed to the Sarutobi clan, who were also at the edge of the deep pit. Konoha ninjas, prepare to finish. The flames of the Great Flame technique lit up the body of the Ten Tails. The intense heat dried the cement in the deep pit in a few breaths, fixing the huge body of the Ten Tails and blocking its movement. Do you want to take the ninjas from each village out for a walk and show off their signature ninjutsu? Naruto, you've been very thoughtful. It does look exciting, but I can't help but want to pour cold water on it. Will this round of attacks really work? I'm not underestimating the combined strength of the ninjas from each village, but everyone has seen the power of the Ten Tails just now. Relying on something like cement. Well, I think it's a close call. Uchiha Madara and Obito didn't even move, which shows that they didn't take the coalition's offensive seriously at all. If this plan was really just thought of, it's understandable. After all, it's good to be able to coordinate the ninjas from the 5 major ninja villages at the same time. Uchiha Madara, who didn't resist at all and let the coalition do what they wanted, folded his arms in front of his chest and said in a somewhat unexpected tone, "Unbelievable. That the ninjas from the 5 ninja villages can actually cooperate so well." The ninjas of the coalition gathered at the edge of the deep pit. Naruto held up the Rasenshuriken in his hand, and the voice of Naruto continued to echo in his mind. If the Ten Tails is not blocked, there will be no chance to stop Obito and Madara. The Ten Tails is a necessary tool for them to launch illusions. As long as the 2 casters who are the brains are defeated, the infinite Tsukuyomi will not be activated. But remember that the time the Ten Tails can be sealed is extremely limited. Only physical attacks are effective against Madara, and physical ninjas need to be used. And Obito can pass through all attacks, but according to intelligence, he can only last for 5 minutes. Cooperate with a medical team and launch a continuous attack on him for more than 5 minutes. Don't relax. Naruto, now as you said, this is Ninja Alliance technique. Many ninjas followed Naruto's footsteps and jumped into the deep pit. Wow. Uchiha Madara is incredible. It shows that the actions of the coalition forces are still effective. He is just surprised by the cooperation of the coalition forces. He doesn't seem to be afraid of the coalition forces at all. So the target is Uchiha Madara and Obito. He also took into account the situation that the Ten Tails could escape at any time. Can we say that he is worthy of being a military strategist? This is not worth making a fuss about. Attacking the enemy's leader is the most basic tactic. Putting aside the tactical arrangements, a group of people rushed towards Uchiha Madara, Obito. Is it okay? Obito is okay, but if Uchiha Madara suddenly uses Susanoo, the coalition forces will immediately suffer heavy casualties. It seems that everyone is completely impulsive and jumped with Naruto. In the final analysis, it only points out the direction to move forward, and there is no mention of how to remove the obstacles on the road. Otherwise, do you really expect someone to arrange every step of the war in detail? The military advisor points out the general direction, and the final victory depends on the bloody battle of the frontline soldiers. Looking at the countless ninjas rushing from all directions, Uchiha Madara didn't even change his posture and said calmly, "How sad." Obito also looked indifferent, yet the hope that those guys rely on does not exist at all, and now, they will no longer exist. Naruto threw out the spiral shuriken, Akai and Xiaoli performed the 8 gates, and Deru fired dense storm releases with the help of Sakura Light. The others also used their own methods, and the overwhelming attacks filled Uchiha Madara's entire field of vision. The target this time is not the Ten Tails, but us. That's right, killing the enemy leader is the basic combat, but to do this, we must first stop the Ten Tails. Uchiha Madara showed a cold smile, and the next second, 10 giant hands with a wooden texture soared into the sky, blocking all attacks and knocking all ninjas who jumped into the deep pit away. Uchiha Madara, Obito, and the Ten Tails, they really didn't take it seriously. It's the expected result. You can tell from the fearless attitude of those two people. If the opponent takes it seriously, everything just now will be in vain. It's easy to despair if you don't have a good mentality when fighting against such an enemy. There's no way. The tactical formulation in the rear depends on the intelligence transmitted from the front line. It's normal that it can't cover everything. But it's too dangerous to let the military advisor come to the front line of the battlefield. Did Shikamaru arrive just now? Let him use his intelligence and talent. After all, he is only 16 years old. No matter how smart Shikamaru is, it is too early for him to command this level of operations. Accompanied by screams of pain, everyone fell to the ground like toppled building blocks. Then, in the horrified eyes of everyone, 10 giant hands supported the edge of the deep pit. A deformed monster with sharp horns on its head, a single eye and mouth that were not on the same plane, thin limbs and bony bones, and a huge flower bud on its back climbed out of the deep pit and appeared in front of the coalition forces, and at the same time as the monster appeared, the perception water ball of the coalition headquarters extended a water ball of almost the same size. This energy scale is comparable to that of an asteroid, which instantly shocked everyone who stayed at the headquarters. Chapter 683. The Ten Tails was not blocked by us. Is it just standing still to accumulate power for transformation, ignoring the exclamation in his ear and temporarily giving up the command of the battlefield? Narashikako remained calm and thought about countermeasures quickly. The Ten Tails must be blocked, otherwise, we can't deal with those two people. But how can we block it? Our clan is best at using ninjutsu to block the enemy's actions, but facing such a guy, no matter how much chakra is consumed, it will be useless. Suddenly, Narashikaku's mind flashed, and he quickly connected with Kakashi on the battlefield through Yamanaka Inochi. Kakashi, it's me. In the series of information you just passed on, I have something I want to confirm. Transformed. I suddenly have a bad feeling. Logically speaking, this kind of form change is usually accompanied by an increase in strength, just like Naruto's tailed beast transformation. Sasuke's it's like the curse seal of the assistant. Please spare me. The Ten Tails was already difficult to deal with just now, and now it's getting even stronger. In fact, we can think of it this way. That is, if the Ten Tails didn't transform, the coalition's combo would have actually worked. Wouldn't it be easier for everyone to accept it if we think about it this way? It's really easy. Bullshit. Everyone worked together and concentrated their strength to attack the enemy, but the enemy's transformation easily disintegrated all their efforts. In this case, it's hard to accept it no matter how you look at it. Listen to how the coalition headquarters described the Ten Tails after the transformation. It's as powerful as an asteroid. It's really absolutely. Why are you so anxious? Didn't you see that the military advisor remained calm? According to Shikamaru's previous performance, the current situation is definitely within his father's consideration. This is too blind. Listen to his inner thoughts. It is obviously beyond his control. It seems that there is a turning point. This is the usual routine of the Nara family. They can always come up with new countermeasures in disparate situations. We in Konoha have an absolute say in this. The transformed Ten Tails stood up and roared to the sky. The Ten Tails behind him danced restlessly. Feeling the restlessness of the Ten Tails, Uchiha Madara said, the control of the Ten Tails is becoming more and more difficult. It's difficult. We have to use Hashirama's cells to strengthen the control. As he spoke, a white tentacle extended from Uchiha Madara on Obito's body and connected to the Ten Tails. After strengthening the control, Uchiha Madara said to Obito in a seductive tone, how powerful is the Ten Tails in the state? Don't you want to see it with your own eyes? Yes. After all, we have to let them understand what is despair. With Obito's murderous response, The 10 Tails opened its mouth and condensed a cone-shaped tailed beast ball. Seeing this, Kakashi hurriedly stopped communicating with Narashikoku. After judging that Kamui was too late to stop it, he immediately let the yellow soil around him raise the ground to interrupt the 10 Tails aiming. The suddenly rising ground destroyed the 10 Tails' balance, causing the tailed beast ball originally aimed at the coalition to be launched diagonally upwards. Then the picture quickly lifted and enlarged. A moment later, on the horizon in the distance, an explosion of flames almost connected to the sky rose from the ground. The ground shook violently, and Kakashi looked at the 10 Tails with a serious expression. So far, the previous tailed beasts can't compare with it at all. What an amazing power! After finally stabilizing his body from the shaking, Uchiha Madara half-knelt to feel the control of the 10 Tails, and continued to fire the tailed beast ball experimentally. The powerful recoil made the 10 Tails lose balance and fall to the ground again and again, but the places hit by the tailed beast ball were actually devastated. The lake evaporated instantly, the town turned into ruins, and the mountain was flattened, which fully demonstrated the power of the 10 Tails. The new form of the 10 Tails looks very uncoordinated. The body and tail are so big, but the limbs are so thin. It doesn't look like a body that is easy to move around. Only half of the left hand has grown out. Is it because the chakra of the 9 Tails and 8 Tails is missing? Well, maybe just now, it wasn't that Uchiha Madara and Obito were too disdainful to do it, but that they couldn't do it. It seems that controlling the 10 Tails is not easy. I don't quite understand why using Hashirama's cells can strengthen the control of the 10 Tails. Does the first Hokage know this? Well, don't you know that Wood Release and Sharingan both have the effect of restraining the tailed beasts? If you consider this point, it makes sense to use the first Hokage's cells to strengthen the control of the 10 Tails. Hiss. The attack range and power of this tailed beast ball are exaggerated, right? The closer the war gets to the end, the more powerful the moves that appear. Uchiha Madara's meteorite attack and Susanoo have only appeared for a short time, and they have been relegated to the second line in an instant. How long have they appeared? It seems to be more than a year ago. Not in real time, but in the time in the sky. At this time, Uchiha Madara has just defeated the 5 Kage not long ago. No, it's really impossible to fight. How can we block such an attack? A large lake was evaporated in an instant. The mountains are not much different from tofu under such an attack, not to mention those towns without defense power. The problem is that the 10 Tails still doesn't seem to be serious, but the attack power has exceeded the charged attacks of the 9 Tails and the 8 Tails. Don't worry, don't worry. If you can't stop it, there are other ways to deal with it. Just like using Earth Escape to change the opponent's attack direction, didn't the 4th Hokage use time and space to transfer when facing the 9 Tails tailed beast ball? I don't know if you are optimistic or brainless. You don't think that the 10 Tails is easily affected just because it is shaking. It can be seen that Uchiha Madara and Obito are familiar with the control of the 10 Tails. No, I can't figure out how Naruto and the others are going to deal with the 10 Tails, because there are really no other cards. Almost all the power of the ninja world is gathered there. There's a best countermeasure to deal with the tailed beasts, which no one has mentioned. Sealing technique, have you forgotten it? Hell, the 2 biggest obstacles are standing on the 10 Tails. After going around in circles, I still come back here. To seal the 10 Tails, we must first deal with Uchiha Madara and Obito. To deal with Uchiha Madara and Obito, we must first deal with the 10 Tails. Damn it, it's a dead end. Chapter 684. No matter what, it's still because of insufficient strength. Finally, after destroying countless things, the 10 Tails landed on all fours and accurately shot the tailed beast ball in its mouth towards a very far place. Looking at the direction of the tailed beast ball, Niji's face suddenly changed. On the other side, at the Allied Forces headquarters, several people who were discussing the safety of the people in the rear suddenly heard the exclamation from Qing, who is responsible for perception. Shikoku hurriedly asked about the situation. Qing exhaled and said in a deep voice, "Calm down, listen to me." As soon as he opened his mouth, Shikoku immediately understood what he meant, looked up at the ceiling, and murmured, "Here, Shikoku, what should we do?" Yamanaka Inochi asked calmly. "Do what you should do." Nara Shikoku raised his head and said with a firm look, "This is the last job, help me connect with everyone on the battlefield. I have come up with a plan to stop the 10 Tails." What the hell? The tailed beast ball hit the Allied Forces headquarters. Oh my god. I was shooting everywhere without any accuracy just now, How come the accuracy has increased so much all of a sudden? No, no, no. Now is not the time to worry about the accuracy. The Allied Forces headquarters is gone. This is the biggest problem. Damn it. I wanted to we were dealing with the enemy's leader first, but they defeated our own leader first. Hasn't Narashikaku figured out a solution? You put on such a handsome face. You must succeed next time, uncle. Damn, how can he be so handsome? The more desperate the situation is, the more I can appreciate Nara's handsomeness, just like the time when Shikamaru did it before. On the battlefield, Shikamaru's expression changed from shock to pain, and after a moment, he showed a look of enlightenment. Aino bit her lip and lowered her head, tears streaming down her cheeks. The flames in the distance shot up into the sky, representing the complete disappearance of the entire coalition headquarters. Obito twisted his neck, and Uchiha Madara tapped his forehead with satisfaction. Finally hit. Now the leaders of the coalition should be wiped out. Shikamaru. Choji looked at Shikamaru reluctantly, but was immediately interrupted by him. We are still fighting. No need to say more nonsense. I know. You too. Just do what your father says. Listening to Shikamaru's words, looking at Aino wiping away tears, Naruto has not reacted yet, or is unwilling to react, like Kurosaki Ichigo who just activated the holy word D, and asked, what is going on? Don't look around, you are the key to this battle. Neji landed beside him, but at the moment Naruto only wanted to figure out the situation, yelling at him, not this. I'm asking what happened to Shikaku and Uncle Heiai. Shikamaru accepted it so quickly. He is indeed a smart man, his personality is really mature. It's mainly because of the foreshadowing of Asuma's sacrifice. The recent battle against the impure world reincarnation Asuma also made them grow a lot. Damn, Uchiha Madara's expression looks so annoying, he's smiling so proudly. Sacrificing in this way is pretty cool. You kid also performed well, you didn't get emotional in that situation. If you weren't so lazy, as Asuma said, you might be more suitable to be the Hokage than Naruto. Narashikaku, who was playing chess with Shikamaru, commented calmly. This completely nonchalant performance made Shikamaru on the opposite side feel a little impetuous, and responded with a somewhat aggressive tone. Stop making so much noise. How can you be so handsome if you're being beaten to death? If you have the ability, just survive. Don't give me the chance to get emotional on the battlefield. HMPH, you kid. In the flower shop of the Yamanaka family, Aino wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes. When she thought that her father might be sacrificed in that way, she felt very depressed. Especially now that the concept of parallel worlds is popular, the situation on the sky may have happened in a parallel world, which makes it difficult for Aino not to make associations. The only thing to be thankful for is that her father is still alive and well, which is also the reason why Aino is just in a low mood. Tonight, have a good talk with Dad. At this time, a giant hand behind the 10 tails swept over. Seeing this, Neji didn't care about talking to Naruto, and went forward with Hinata Hayashi, and at the same time performed Kaiten to block the attack. Don't be dazed, Naruto. This is a battlefield, sacrifices are inevitable, but if we lose this battle, then all of us will die. Facing the 10 tails, Hyuga Hayashi made a soft fist and said to Naruto behind him. Neji made in the same posture. He continued, Shikamaru and Aino's father will definitely say that they are satisfied to be able to walk in front of their children, just like my father. In the silence of Hyuga Hayashi, Neji said firmly, this war needs your strength, Naruto, so we must do it no matter what. We must protect Naruto. Hinata stood beside Neji, and the three of them formed a line of defense to protect Naruto in Hayashi's declaration of Hyuga is the strongest. Hyuga's soft fist is greatly reduced in this situation. The attack distance is too short. It's impossible to get close now, but it doesn't mean it will always be like this. At least when dealing with Uchiha Madara, there must be occasions for them to play a role. Don't substitute human experience for that kind of monster. With the size of the 10 tails, except for long-range ninjas, the attack distance of other ninjas is actually dispensable. If Hyuga can't play a role, then most of the ninjas present will not be much of an exception. Compared to Shikamaru, Naruto always needs someone around to wake him up, plus that noisy personality. It's still annoying to watch in this situation. I don't think it's a big deal, because if he doesn't do this, he won't be like Naruto. Mutual dependence and support, maybe this is why everyone is so easily moved by Naruto and chooses to believe in him. PFFT. It was fine, But Hinata Hayashi suddenly said Hyuga is the strongest in Konoha, which made me laugh to death. Well, at the moment when the Uchiha clan has been exterminated, the Hinata clan does have the strength to compete for the strongest in Konoha. It's normal to use it as a slogan here to encourage the two young people. It's quite funny to say this in front of two Uchiha. Chapter 685. I wanted to launch an attack before they started talking nonsense, but I couldn't control the 10 tails perfectly. Although I could hold on until it changed again, but then I couldn't control the 10 tails unless I became a Jinchuriki. Taking a full view of everything that happened below, Uchiha Madara squinted at Obito and said almost explicitly, and if I want to become the 10 tails Jinchuriki, I must first get rid of the state of impure world reincarnation and be completely resurrected. After the impure world reincarnation, you could have launched a suicide attack, but you didn't recklessly launch the tailed beast ball to self-destruct at the coalition forces. You were afraid that I would be implicated and killed. Obito glanced at Uchiha Madara with a mocking smile on his face. And the reason you don't want me to die is that if you want to be fully resurrected and become a Jinchuriki, I must sacrifice my life to perform the Samsara technique on you. In other words, your position is very delicate now, and you must obey me. Don't forget it. This was expected, so Uchiha Madara's expression did not change much, but he said to Obito lightly, "You've grown wings." In response, Obito also bluntly said that he had never regarded him as a companion. It seemed that there was nothing he could do to Obito, so Uchiha Madara directly handed the command to him, and Obito made the decision. Continue. I will tell them carefully what despair is. Hiss. What did I hear? Uchiha Madara said hold on until the 10 tails changes again. Can he continue to get stronger? Oh my god. Is this not over yet? How much stronger can he become? So, Narashikaku's plan just now is unlikely to succeed, and his sacrifice was in vain. This is a war, not a game of house. Don't expect everyone to die meaningfully. On the contrary, meaningless death is the norm. As I thought, you must be alive to become the 10 tails Jinchuriki. So the two of them fell out. It's been made very clear, right? If Uchiha Madara wants to be resurrected, Obito must sacrifice his life to perform the Samsara Jutsu. Obito will naturally not be happy about it, so it's obviously a situation of mutual opposition. Two people who use each other will see when they don't need each other anymore, and then they will turn against each other. Is this the chance for the coalition to win? To alienate the two and let them quarrel among themselves? So, under Obito's control, the 10 giant hands behind the 10 tails were raised at the same time, with their palms pointed at the coalition forces below. Then, amid a piercing howl, the giant hands shot out a blanket of wooden spikes, like a downpour, instantly causing huge casualties to the coalition forces. The wooden spikes pierced through a large number of ninjas who had no time to dodge, and continued to branch and grow after entering their bodies, causing irreversible and fatal damage. Some of the ninjas with quick reactions fled around looking for cover, and only a small number of ninjas could actively block the attack, but they also had a great impact on the overall situation. It didn't have much effect. The 10 tails continued to attack, and gradually, even the ninjas who took the initiative to block the attack began to become powerless. The swords and kunai in their hands were interrupted one after another, and the rising earth flow wall was pierced and shattered by dense wooden spikes. Even the so-called absolute defense Kaiten was broken, knocking off Niji's forward protector and revealing the caged bird curse seal on his forehead. The action was blocked, and Niji's defense was temporarily suspended. Fortunately, Naruto had entered the Sage mode at this time, and took the initiative to step forward to block the next wave of attacks for Niji on the grounds that he couldn't always rely on geniuses. Well, this wooden spike move seems to be the wood release ninjutsu that Obito used when he turned evil before. Really, could it be that the source of wood releases the 10 tails? It's really possible. I remember that the two people from Otsutsuki described the tailed beasts as the scattered chakra of the divine tree. The divine tree and wood release, no matter how you look at it, there is a connection. Just now it was fine if we only relied on physical attacks, but now that we use ninjutsu, the coalition forces immediately suffered heavy casualties. When I think that this thing can continue to grow stronger, with endless energy support, even a fireball can turn into a raging fire that burns mountains and boils seas, not to mention the already powerful wood release. I remember that Hyuga's Kaiten is known as an absolute defense, but it couldn't stop the 10 tails attack at all. You also said it's a title. Isn't it rare that the absolute defense of the ninja world has been broken? Neji failed in the battle with Kodomaru, and Gaara's absolute defense was also broken several times. 4 or 5 spiral shurikens were thrown into the air by Naruto, and with the help of other ninjas, the fire escape released instantly cleared a large number of wooden spikes fired at him, but the price was that Naruto's Senjutsu chakra that he had accumulated with great difficulty was instantly exhausted. The enemy was just the opposite of Naruto. The extremely persistent offensive instantly wiped out the offensive that had just been interrupted. The wooden spikes that paused for less than a second attacked Naruto again. Fortunately, Hinata took action in time to help Naruto block the attack. At this time, the giant hand of the 10 tails swept over again. Hyuga Hayashi blocked the 2 of them and repelled the giant hand with the 8 trigrams empty wall palm. Unexpectedly, the giant hand shot wooden spikes at Naruto while being repelled. Because there were too many, Hinata could only use her body as a shield to block Naruto. Then, in the astonished eyes of Hyuga Hayashi, Neji rushed over and blocked the attack for Hinata in the same posture. Almost at the same time, Wang Tu, who had accumulated enough chakra, used the mountain earth technique. 2 huge rocks were lifted from both sides and clamped the 10 tails tightly, stopping its attack. Then the coalition forces seized the opportunity and launched a counterattack. In a war of this scale, the unsustainable Sage mode won't be of much use. It's difficult. Where's the 9 tails? Hasn't it accumulated all its chakra yet? Not good. Neji. Here. Those wooden thorns have directly split apart in his body. He can't survive now. I understand. Why did Neji's shadow appear when Naruto was helping Boruto perform the Rasengan? It's because Neji sacrificed himself to save Naruto. Damn. He was just one step slower. If the Yellow Earth of Iwagakure had arrived earlier, Neji wouldn't have sacrificed himself. Who could have predicted this? Medical team. Where are they? Someone is seriously injured. Come quickly. Naruto hugged Neji and shouted anxiously. Neji's chin was against his shoulder, blood was flowing from the corner of his mouth, and he said weakly, "No. I have." Chapter 686. Neji. Brother. Naruto and Hinata's voices trembled. Neji coughed lightly and said intermittently, "Naruto. Lady Hinata is willing to sacrifice herself for you. So, you have more than one life. And now my life has become one of them." Listening to his increasingly soft voice, Naruto's mind was blank at this moment. Why do you want to do this? You are not against Hinata. Why do you sacrifice for me, risk your life to protect me? Tears could not stop flowing. Naruto's slightly choked voice reached Neji's ears, making him involuntarily think of what Naruto said to him during the Chunin exam, and finally everything converged into this answer, "Because you said I am a genius." Neji smiled with relief, and the caged birthmark on his forehead quickly dissipated. "Father. I finally understand, when you volunteered to die to protect your companions, the feeling of freedom." At this time, a blue bird flying in the sky was unfortunately hit by a wooden thorn and fell to the ground and died. This should be the first time that Naruto has witnessed the death of his companions. It seems that Naruto is about to collapse again. What are you talking about? Jiraiya and Kakashi. Oh, Naruto didn't see them die in person. He got the news from others. In a sense, there was actually one time when Sasuke was seriously injured by Bai. Did Naruto think he was dead? The experiences of the two are too different. Their understanding of death cannot be generalized. Willing to die for Naruto's words, "Neji, you are already free enough." Is this ironic? You can only die when you die. The freedom felt by the dead, and the caged bird on his forehead that will disappear after death, the more you look at it, the more ironic it seems. This is a problem that Hinata needs to worry about. We, who are insignificant, just need to experience the current atmosphere. You looked at Hinata, who was crying silently, at a loss, and said nervously, hey, don't cry, Hinata. That happened on the sky, not in reality. Neji is still alive and well. How about we go find him now? I'm sorry. I lost my composure. Hinata choked and rubbed her eyes, then looked at the sky with tears in her eyes, and recovered after a long time. In the Hyuga mansion, there was no emotion on Hyuga Hayashi's face, but from his clenched fists, it can be seen that his mood at this time is not as calm as he appears. Hisashi, Neji is just like you. But I promise you, this scene on the sky will never happen again, because Neji has broken free from the shackles of the Hyuga and can fly freely in the sky. That guy Neji, Actually, Naruto was shocked when he saw the sacrificed Neji. Due to the sky, although Naruto now has a good relationship with Neji, due to the lack of the collision of ideas during the Chunin exam and the subsequent cooperation, the relationship between Naruto and Neji is actually a little worse than that of other Zyokyang of the same period. So it's no wonder that Naruto feels at a loss because Neji is willing to die for him. At the same time, as the person involved, Neji is not proud of himself on the sky, willing to die to save his companions. On the contrary, he is now annoyed to death. Neji's eyes twitched, and he resisted the urge to roar, standing there and letting Akai and Zyoli hug him and cry bitterly. Woo woo woo. Neji, you died so tragically. Zyoli burst into tears, conveying his rich emotions to Neji without reservation. Hearing this, Akai burst into tears, with a relieved smile on his face, patting Zyoli's shoulder and said, Lee. As long as we keep thinking about Neji, he will always live in our hearts. We should be proud of his sacrifice. So, don't show such a shameful expression again. Because of the activeness of the two live treasures, Xianshin couldn't feel sad at all, and could only sigh for Neji helplessly. Didn't you say that you would never let your companions be killed? Naruto. Obito, who had always been paying attention to Naruto, suddenly shouted, What about now? Look around, do you dare to say it again? Holding Neji's body, looking at the coalition forces with casualties all around, Naruto's pupils trembled violently, and his face was at a loss, and Obito obviously would not miss this opportunity. With the despair of Lin's death in his arms, he shouted again, Let me tell you again. Touch your companion's slowly cooling body and experience death. At this time, the surrounding Konoha ninjas came back to their senses from Neji's sacrifice, but everyone's faces were still filled with disbelief. Obito ignored the others and only wanted to persuade Naruto to give up hope. Death will continue, your childish words and thoughts will become lies, this is the result of empty talk about ideals and hopes, this is reality. Naruto, what is there in this reality? There are no parents, no Master Jiraiya, and as long as you continue to be my enemy, your companions will fall one by one like this, and you will live in a world where no one recognizes you. What is waiting for you in front of you is what you are most familiar with and most afraid of, loneliness. Wow. Killing people and breaking their hearts. As soon as Neji died, Obito immediately seized the opportunity to attack Naruto with words. Damn. Didn't you kill the person? Where on earth do you get the confidence to say such things to Naruto? From Obito's perspective, it seems that there is nothing wrong with what he said. The key point is that Naruto did say, I will never let my companions be killed not long ago, but in the blink of an eye, Neji died in front of him. You can imagine how big a blow it was. Naruto used what Nagato said as an excuse to convince the other party before, now I want to see how he will refute his own words. Am I the only one who thinks that Obito's words are sophistry? Obviously, the tragedy in front of him was caused by him. Why does he seem to be Naruto's fault? It's just that Naruto is too principled and too obsessed with his ninja way. If it were a veteran on the battlefield, what Obito said would be worthless. There is no such thing as no death in war, chapter 687. The problem is that Naruto seems to be pursuing a war of immortals. Even if Neji didn't sacrifice himself, Obito's words would still be a blow to him. I don't understand the truth. But I absolutely cannot accept the result of letting everyone dream. I support Naruto no matter what. You are really like me in the past, Obito. Naruto will soon collapse and make the coalition desperate. Uchiha Madara looked at Obito and smiled with satisfaction. Looking at the dejected and silent Naruto, Obito thought the time had come and reached out to Naruto to invite him. At this time, a slender palm gently patted Naruto's face to wake him up. Hinata looked at Naruto stubbornly with indelible tears on her face. Just now, Brother Neji said, Naruto, you have more than one life. Do you understand what this means? Facing Naruto's bewildered eyes, Hinata said sadly and firmly, I will never let my companions be killed. Your words and beliefs are not false. Brother Neji kept them in mind and did it without fear. Not only Naruto, everyone has engraved this sentence and this belief in their hearts. Our lives are closely connected because of this. This is how companions are. Listening to Hinata's words, everyone nearby showed a look of enlightenment. If we abandon this sentence and this belief, then everything that Brother Neji has done will become meaningless. That would be equivalent to killing our companions and severing the bond between us. That's what I think. Obito restrained his emotions and looked at Hinata expressionlessly as she passed on her will and determination to Naruto. So, stand up with me, Naruto, speak your mind and do what you say. This is also my ninja way. Does Uchiha Madara's words prove that he participated in the plan to kill Rin? Because Obito is now the one who killed Rin. Nisi, and then tried to use this result to convince Naruto. Except for the lack of solid evidence, it can be basically confirmed that this is Uchiha Madara's conspiracy, and there is no value in discussing it. Naruto can cheer up. Hinata has made an indispensable contribution. This is the second time Naruto's two collapses. The turnaround was brought by Hinata. Can we say that they are worthy of being the future husband and wife? Everyone holds the belief of not letting companions be killed, and is closely connected in this way. Although there are many logical loopholes, it is indeed much more reliable than Naruto's idea of taking on everything alone. It only takes three things to cheer Naruto up: companions, Hokage, and ninja way. Listening to Hinata's words, Naruto stared at Nisi's peaceful face in a daze. Suddenly, the Nine-Tails roar instantly brought him back to his senses. Of course there is more than one. Don't forget that there is also this old man. I know the bond with everyone. I absolutely don't want to abandon my companions. But Neji, Naruto said with a sad face and lowered his head. Seeing his depressed look, Kyuubi was immediately furious. Try to say one more word. Believe it or not, I will beat you down and take away your body, bastard. Have you even forgotten this? While roaring, Kyuubi raised his claws and swung them heavily, transmitting the scene of Minato and Kushina before their death into Naruto's mind. Your parents did the same thing as Neji when you were born. They also sealed me, the enemy, in your body and died after entrusting the future. From the moment you were born, your life has been closely connected with the other two lives. Since Kyuubi was persuaded by Naruto, he not only has to provide chakra for combat, but also has to make tactical arrangements and commands. Now he has to keep up with psychological counseling. There is no way. My life is connected with Naruto's life. Anyone can die, but Naruto must not die. Jusha, even the parents have moved out. Now Naruto has to cheer up. This is growth. Carrying the lives of the sacrificed is much more difficult than carrying the lives of the living. In the belly of the god of death, Minato pursed his lips and said with blessings, "Go, Naruto. Go and connect with everyone, whether happy or sad, share it with everyone." In the Pure Land, Kushina gritted her teeth, then waved her fist heavily and shouted, "Don't be depressed anymore. Dad and Mom believe in you, Hinata believes in you, and even the bad-tempered Nine-Tails has given their trust to you. You have to keep moving forward with ease, and then, wake up that stinky brat Obito with your fists. Tell him that he is not like this at all, not cool. It's just lame. Enough." Seeing hope on Naruto's face again, Obito, who couldn't hold back any longer, didn't plan to hold back. He wrapped himself up with a giant hand that controlled the 10 tails, leaving only his big mouth to condense the tail beast ball towards the coalition. Be patient. This will not only hurt the 10 tails, but you will also be implicated. Uchiha Madara couldn't help but persuade him, but Obito insisted, "It's okay. The 10 tails skin is strong." The targeted coalition suddenly felt a huge pressure. Fortunately, Killer Bee had flown to the side of the 10 tails on Soya's painted eagle. Killer Bee jumped up and pounced on the tail beast ball. He turned into a tail beast directly in the air, and almost got into the mouth of the 10 tails. He used the tail beast ball he condensed to push the 10 tails tail beast ball into the opponent's body. The next second, the 10 tails suddenly expanded into a huge sphere and burst the huge rocks on both sides. Then it shrank and collapsed to the ground in an instant. The 8 tails also flew backwards and fell to the ground under a violent impact, but it seemed to be fine. Obito's mentality collapsed as soon as Naruto recovered. "What the hell is this?" Sure enough, he said so much just to prove that he was right through Naruto, but Naruto didn't fall for it. In fact, Naruto almost collapsed just now. Although he didn't turn against the enemy, the next battle would definitely be affected. He was just lucky because he had Hinata by his side. So the reason why Obito turned evil was because there was no one around him who could pull him back when he went berserk. Who knows? After all, there is no if in this world. Oh, maybe there is such a situation in a parallel world. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 688. Hiss. If this tailed beast ball comes down, The coalition will be seriously injured if not killed. Fortunately, I didn't expect it to be broken by Killer Bee like this. Are you kidding me? With the destructive power that the 10 tails tailed beast ball showed before, it didn't burst it. It can be seen from here. Don't even think about destroying the 10 tails physically. The only way to deal with it is the sealing technique. At this time, Naruto also completely cheered up. He held Hinata's hand, and his mind kept emerging with the figures who sacrificed on his way to growth. Yes. Not just mom and dad, it has always been like this. I have more than one life. Minato and Kushina, the third Hokage and Jiraiya, Itachi, Nagato and Chihayo, as well as Shikaku and Heiai who just sacrificed. The existence of these people gave Naruto great courage, supporting him to stand up again, holding Hinata's hand tightly and facing the fear in front of him. Hinata, thank you, thanks to you by my side. Naruto said to Hinata, and then turned his eyes to Neji, and Neji, thank you. Although the 10 tails not far away climbed up unscathed, Hinata felt the power in Naruto's palm without any fear in her heart. Naruto's hand is big and powerful, and more importantly, it makes people feel particularly at ease. With a clenched fist, Naruto once again entered the Kurama mode and transferred chakra to Hinata in the form of a tailed beast coat. Go, Hinata. Yet, the 9 tails chakra has finally recovered, and Naruto has also cheered up. Next, it's time to counterattack. Don't be too happy too soon. Don't forget that the 10 tails can continue to change. Besides, Naruto couldn't do anything to the 10 tails before, and now he has just recovered to his previous state. Is he really capable of dealing with the 10 tails? It's hard to tell for the time being. Where is the chance of victory? The gap in strength between the two sides is too big. Sasuke should appear later, but even with him, it feels like we are still far behind the opponent. Anyway, it must be something that only Naruto can do. If anyone can open the situation, then the identity of the child of prophecy is too worthless. Jiraiya looked at the sky and sighed with a heavy expression. For now, I can't see where the way out is. The gap is too big. Naruto followed him with his head in his hands, and said angrily, "Sexy immortal, why do you say such depressing words? No matter how strong the enemy is, no matter how difficult they are to deal with, we can't give in anyway, so we can only keep going. Sooner or later, we will see an opportunity." That's right, since it's impossible to give up, keeping an optimistic and positive attitude will give you a better chance to turn the situation around. He thought so in his heart, but Jiraiya showed a disgusted expression on his face. It's not your turn to teach me a lesson, I'm just thinking. Perseverance and perseverance are indeed important, but it's also important to have a brain that can find the enemy's flaws. Besides, don't you see how embarrassing you were on the sky? If it weren't for Hinata, the little girl, who woke you up, you would still be kneeling there in a daze. Stop talking nonsense. I was talking about you now, but you actually used me on the sky to refute you. How can you be like this? This is Kyuubi's. No, is it Naruto's chakra? The perceptive ninjas I immediately saw the source of the red-tailed beast coat, and the Kyuubi was very pleased with this. You can already skillfully transform my chakra and transmit it to others, Naruto. I have mastered the trick, please help, Kurama. Naruto was in high spirits. Seeing this, the Kyuubi secretly sighed at Shikaku's strong analytical ability, and cooperated to transmit chakra to Naruto. So, in Hinata's shocked eyes, a large amount of chakra gushed out of Naruto's body, and then he turned into 3 shadow clones and scattered, transmitting chakra to everyone by fighting with others. After a while, red flames ignited on the battlefield. This unscrupulous action caused Obito to directly control the 10 tails to attack again. Unexpectedly, the giant hand that hit the coalition was easily repelled by Hinata's 8 trigrams palm. After receiving Naruto's power, the little girl became much more powerful. Uchiha Madara smiled with interest, but Obito didn't have the leisure to explore these. He continued to control other giant hands to attack the coalition, and then was captured by the giant transformed by the ninja of the Akimichi clan, who also wore the tailed beast clothes and stopped the attack. Seeing that Choji had taken the initiative to block the enemy's attack, Shikamaru and Ino also began to act according to Shikaku's plan. What kind of trick is Naruto going to play? He actually transmitted all the chakra that the 9 tails had accumulated with great difficulty. Isn't it obvious? It must be one of Shikaku's strategies. Well, it's hard to say whether this arrangement is good or bad. Although the Nine Tails chakra has strengthened some people and given them the power to influence the Ten Tails or even fight against it, but most people, even if they are strengthened, can only play a very limited role. Alice, some people are destined to be cannon fodder. It's actually unwise to waste chakra like this, but if I stand in that kind of situation and can be treated equally like this, it's hard not to admire Naruto. Ha ha ha. I don't ask for how much I can strengthen it, as long as I can swing the sword a few more times. Since I am regarded as a companion, I can be a shield or cannon fodder. It doesn't matter. Don't assume that Naruto is wasting chakra. Let's see what the next arrangement is. Maybe he wants to maximize the power of the Nine Tails by dispersing the power. After all, if Naruto is alone, although the Nine Tails chakra can support him to fight for a long time, the output efficiency is definitely not as good as everyone working together. Time goes back to a few minutes ago. Nara Shikoku conveyed his plan to the coalition forces. When Shikamaru asked what to do if the plan didn't go well, he gave this answer: "Then you who are still alive will take over my command, Shikamaru." As soon as these words came out, Shikamaru's face changed suddenly. He immediately heard Nara Shikoku's subtext, and Yamanaka Inoichi did not hide it. In the eyes of Inoue, who couldn't believe it, he directly informed everyone that the headquarters was about to disappear. Chapter 689. As he was about to die, the usually serious Nara Shikoku could not help but laugh at his incompetence as a father. Unexpectedly, Shikamaru, who should have been immersed in pain, interrupted him without any confusion and replied, "I grew up watching my father's back," to convey his feelings for his father in a tactful way. Yamanaka Inoichi started with the Yamanaka family emblem, the flower language of Lesperdesia, and sent full blessings and praise to his crying daughter. After the two of them said their last words, Nara Shikoku also entrusted some unspeakable secrets to Shikamaru, and said their last words. Finally, no matter what, we will always be with you. Don't forget this. Shikamaru is probably the one who understands death the most among his peers. He accepted the current situation in just a few breaths. He is so strong. They also have little time to spend with their fathers, but look at the performances of Shikamaru and Boruto. Tisk tisk. Okay, after all, the times are different. It's a bit unreasonable to compare Boruto and Shikamaru. It's great that the child can grow up so well. My silly boy can't even reach half of his level, even if he is whipped with a whip. Ainou's performance is also good, but when she mentioned the flower language of the lepers, she thought of Sasuke, which felt a bit subtle. Hey, I suddenly want to see what will happen if Sasuke, Sakura, Sai, and Ainou meet now. A bunch of little brats, you are in love all day long. If you have time, you should learn more about ninjutsu. You will have a better chance of survival when the war breaks out in the future. The roar of a single dog. Back to the present, Obito, who can't stand the coalition forces showing off, changes his offensive directly. Spikes quickly emerge from the palm of his giant hand and are about to hit Choji and others in front of him. Fortunately, at this time, Ainou, who had been prepared for a long time, successfully launched the heart turn technique, controlling Obito to change the direction of the attack, and Shikamaru's shadow also connected with the shadow of the Ten Tails at this time, and successfully bound the Ten Tails' huge body and made it unable to move. However, Shikamaru also suffered a lot of pressure because of this. Fortunately, other Nara ninjas also took action, and one shadow after another connected with the Ten Tails' shadow to share his pressure. Ainou was also able to unlock the ninjutsu and let her consciousness return to her body. Looking at these people who launched counterattacks again and again and refused to give up, Obito, who had regained his mobility, looked grim, especially when he heard Kai's words to persuade the sad Xiaoli to cheer up. He couldn't help but laugh loudly. Let me tell you. It's your so-called bond that made me what I am today. Remember this. That thing is the most brutal curse. Hiss. Originally, looking at the performance of Hinata, Choji and Ainou, I thought the strengthening effect was just average, but Shikamaru actually controlled the Ten Tails with his shadow alone. Although the time was short, the effect was quite amazing. With this kind of strengthening range, many tactics that didn't work before can be arranged. Now the most what matters is the two people on the head of the Ten Tails. It seems that Nara's restraints are quite strong at the moment, and they should not be easily broken free like before. Counterattack. Maybe we can only defeat the Ten Tails in this form, but it is already very good to have an effect. At least it is better than doing nothing. The more you shout, the more you prove that you care about something. Compared with Uchiha Madara, who seems to be having fun throughout the whole process, Obito's emotions are really too excited. Indeed, if you really don't care about anything, just move directly, just put your hands on it. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Looking at Obito's familiar yet strange face, Kakashi said to Naruto beside him in a low voice, "Naruto, I told you, never let your companions be killed." This sentence is the admonition I use to remind myself. Along the way, there are too many companions that I have not protected well, so I will warn myself that I must protect them next time, but every time I will face the fact that I failed to protect my companions, which means that I will have to face this scar for the rest of my life. So those who can endure are considered ninjas. Naruto raised his hand and clenched his fist against his heart. Isn't this scar the proof that my companions are alive here? Companions who exist in dreams and will not be hurt are just illusions, which means that the real companions have been wiped out. No matter if it is a curse or something else, I will leave the real Neji here. Naruto's words made Xiaoli involuntarily think of the past and Neji, and the one who looked down on him from the beginning, and then came Neji who recognized him and wanted to compete with him. Thinking of this, Xiaoli stopped crying, and a strong fighting spirit burst out from his eyes. With the chakra transmitted by Naruto, he raised his momentum to the peak. Never let your companions be killed. This belief is correct no matter where it is placed. Even if it is not done, as long as you have tried your best to do it, it is not considered to be a failure of this belief. This argument became popular after the appearance of the Sky Curtain. The standard of ninjas in the past was mission-oriented, and there could be no emotion. Here you go again, old antiques like you guys in the past, the new era has already arrived. So this is how Jiraiya understood the endurance in the ninja explanation. I have been wondering what to endure before. Endure the pain? It's a pretty standard answer. I don't know if there will be other important people sacrificed next, but I think it shouldn't affect Naruto, who has completely cheered up. So far, everyone on the battlefield has received Naruto's chakra. Feeling the power flowing out of his body, Kakashi couldn't help but sigh. More and more powerful than last time. Inside Naruto, the Nine Tails breathed a sigh of relief, looking at Naruto's short but upright figure in front of him, grinned and snorted, "Now you have got what you want, the fourth Hokage. The only one who can connect to my chakra now is Naruto, who has inherited Kushina's bloodline and has been coexisting with me as a Jinchuriki, and Naruto has grown up well enough to be able to sense everyone's chakra, and transform my chakra into a state that suits other people and transmit it to them." Chapter 690. Minato, this is the same principle as when you injected your own chakra into Naruto. This kid has surpassed you. The amount of chakra connected and the amount of chakra transmitted are far greater than yours, Kushina. Minato, it's a pity that you lost to Naruto. But this is the power you want Naruto to inherit. Is it difficult to transfer chakra to others? Isn't this nonsense? Even if you didn't study hard in school, you must have experienced similar situations in your ninja career. The chakra of different individuals is very different, otherwise the difficulty of combining ninjutsu would not be so great. This is why the tailed beasts are very important. Their chakra can be seamlessly connected with the Jinchuriki. Now it seems that it is because they live long enough and the perception and chakra control are far superior to ordinary people. There is another situation. Those ninjas with the ability to absorb may transform different chakras into a state that suits them and then absorb it. You mean as long as your perception and chakra control can keep up, you can master the ability to absorb ninjutsu? The premise is that you can withstand the effect of ninjutsu. For example, if a fire escape comes, you have to not be burned to death before you can absorb the chakra in it. I understand all this, but it was obviously Naruto who did it. Why are you so proud of your tone, Nine Tails? Ha. You actually used Naruto's achievements to mock his parents, as if it were Naruto's parents. It has been with Naruto since the day he was born. From this point of view, the relationship between Nine Tails and Naruto is much closer than that between him and his parents. In the belly of the god of death, Minato smiled helplessly. He really didn't expect that the ferocious Nine Tails would one day mock him and Kushina with such an attitude that surpassed his parents. Is it because Naruto is too contagious or something else? It's really weird. Kurama, you don't really treat Naruto as your own child, do you? Shut up. In the Pure Land, Kushina's eyes widened. After decades of getting along, she had never seen the Nine Tails show such a side, but whether it was its nature or influenced by Naruto, it was impossible for it to replace her as a mother. Humph. Naruto surpassed Minato and me, and we would only feel happy and proud. You actually think we would feel regretful? From this point, it can be seen that the Nine Tails doesn't understand the relationship between parents and children at all. Seeing that Obito couldn't control the 10 tails to break free, Uchiha Madara chuckled and intervened, controlling the remaining giant hands of the 10 tails to attack the coalition forces. In response, the 8 tails tailed beast ball, the samurai's flying slash, the Hyuga's 8 trigrams empty wall palm, and the Sand Ninja's wind-style continuous decision blocked the enemy's attack. Uchiha Madara and Obito immediately changed their offensive and controlled their giant hands to hit the coalition forces, surrounding them like a cage. Facing the shock waves coming from all around, Hyuga Hayashi did not give in and roared loudly, Niji's death must not be in vain. HMPH, once you are cursed, you can only eliminate it by death. It comes from the ninja curse between the main and branch families of the Hyuga family. It's like waiting to die in a cage, a good hint. You will all be like the kid who died in vain just now. Looking at the current scene, Obito taunted the coalition forces. Just now I thought Nara had completely controlled the 10 tails, but it was no use when Uchiha Madara intervened. In fact, this is reasonable. The scattered 9 tails chakra can never compete with the 10 tails body. It can delay the attack, which is already very effective. Tisk, a group of people's enhanced attack can only repel the 10 tails giant hand. It seems that there is no damage at all. This kind of uncoordinated joint attack will be weakened by each other after it is launched. Weaker, right? It's the chakra difference I mentioned earlier. That may not be the case. After all, they are all strengthened by the 9 tails chakra. From this point of view, they actually have the conditions for forming a combined ninjutsu. Here, it feels like the power is simply not enough. Don't underestimate the 10 tails. Obito really took the opportunity to strike the coalition with the words. This world does have a lot of problems, but it's not a reason to abandon everything and run away to dream. Isn't the future in a few decades going well? Obito just doesn't dare to face the reality. Don't dare to face the reality. Obito looked at the reflection in the crystal ball in his hand, and murmured expressionlessly, whatever you say. Ninjas will. Naruto roared, and released the spiral shuriken with both hands at the same time. He used himself as the arrow of the charge, and took all the people in the coalition. Through the connection of each other's chakra, he formed a giant red bird, cut off the giant hand blocking everyone in front, and flew towards Uchiha Madara and Obito. It will never disappear. Little Lee bravely stepped forward and launched a fierce sweeping kick at Uchiha Madara, while Naruto, with the help of Hinata, reconnected his dislocated left shoulder and threw the spiral shuriken in his hand towards Obito. The two's attack cut off the connection between Uchiha Madara and Obito and the 10 tails, and forced the two to distance themselves from the 10 tails under the approach of the coalition forces that followed. Encircled by the coalition forces, Naruto stood in front of the two and said seriously, I am different from you. Once I have a bond, I will never cut it off, nor will I let it be cut off. Accompanied by Naruto's sonorous speech, Sasuke wearing a black cloak appeared on the sky. Look, this red bird is the manifestation of chakra resonance. Sure enough, it increases the output by spreading the chakra. With so many people acting together, the speed is so fast that Uchiha Madara and Obito can't react. Okay. This will unlock their control over the 10 tails, right? Next. Oh, hell, we still don't know how to fight next, right? After all, even without the 10 tails, judging from the abilities that Uchiha Madara has shown so far, the coalition forces feel like they were evenly matched or even slightly inferior. Chapter 691. At least it's better than not seeing any hope. Oh, Sasuke finally appears. After Naruto's words, Sasuke appears. Well, the meaning is too obvious. The screen stretches, and Orochimaru, Sujetsu, and Jugo, who are also wearing cloaks, also appear. The four of them stand in front of the damaged temple with the Uzumaki clan's emblem. As Orochimaru sighs, Sasuke takes the lead and walks into the temple. Looking at the evil ghost masks hanging on the wall, he asks, which one is it? Orochimaru takes a step forward, takes off one of the masks after a careful inspection, and turns to the few people in the gloomy atmosphere that Sujetsu feels a little uncomfortable, saying, let's go to the place where all the secrets are sleeping. The four of them leave the temple and continue to set off. After a while, they arrive in a village. Sasuke suddenly he jumped up from the street, and after a few jumps, he landed on a high water tower. With complicated eyes, He looked at the Hokage rock on the mountain wall not far away and everything in his field of vision. This place has also changed a lot. Suai was puzzled by Sasuke's sudden action, but Orochimaru knew how Sasuke felt at the moment. It's the same as before I planned to destroy Konoha. In Suayu's question, Orochimaru explained, even if he and the village have changed, this is his hometown after all. He needs some time to immerse himself in sentimentality and reconfirm his determination by recalling the past. Suayu immediately understood, and then looked at Orochimaru, testing him with the matter of destroying Konoha. After all, Konoha's combat power has all gone to the front line to participate in the war, and no one in the village can stop them, and Orochimaru was unprecedentedly gentle when he heard this question. After giving an ambiguous answer, he specifically pointed out that they are no longer snakes. Hey! Why is Orochimaru here? How did these people get together? What happened after Sasuke defeated Kabuto? Where are they now? The Uzumaki clan's emblem, a ruin. Tisk, can't you be more clear? What a place where all secrets lie dormant. It's really weird. Hey. These people actually ran to Konoha. They sneaked in quietly, which is not surprising at all. With Orochimaru here, and Konoha's main fighting force must be on the front line, there's no need to make a fuss about this. Confirm your determination. Oh, the one who destroyed Konoha. After all, he just met Itachi not long ago. After knowing what he did, Sasuke may have changed his mind at this time. It's not clear whether Sasuke has changed, but Orochimaru has definitely changed. He looks a bit like the future. Indeed, he looks quite friendly. Sasuke, who had just finished investigating an Uchiha ruin and was now staying in a small town, looked at the amiable Orochimaru on the sky with a strange expression. This kind of atmosphere, among the four people, Sasuke seems to be the main one. Orochimaru licked his tongue and said to himself curiously, what was I thinking at that time? Was it because I had just been resurrected and was lurking before my power was restored? The scene changed, and the four people appeared in the ruins of the Uchiha Nanga shrine. Sasuke used a seal to move a huge stone slab with 3 Magatama and sealing techniques, and took the 3 people to the underground secret room to find the truth of everything. In front of the stone tablet passed down from generation to generation by the Uchiha, as 2 clusters of flames ignited, Orochimaru took the initiative to step forward and let the other 3. He moved away slightly, and then put on the mask he had taken before without hesitation. A ball of chakra instantly ignited Orochimaru's whole body like a flame. Amid his uncontrollable cry of pain, a strange and hideous huge shadow appeared out of thin air behind him. It was none other than the god of death summoned by the Shiki Fujin. Sasuke looked at the scene in front of him coldly, and remembered the scroll he had obtained not long ago and Orochimaru's explanation, using the god of death mask in the Namen Hall of the Uzumaki clan as a medium to summon the god of death, and then breaking the belly of the god of death at the cost of the summoner's life, so as to retrieve the things sealed in the god of death. Do you feel like Sasuke is in charge? Sasuke is the strongest among the 4 now, so it's normal for him to be in charge. Who knows what purpose Orochimaru has? Don't underestimate him before everything is settled. Nanga Shrine, Uchiha Steel, the one that records the main Gekyo, what are they trying to do here? Hey. This ghost is not that. A mortal reincarnation, the sealing technique that costs one's life. This is to unlock the seal. Wait. I remember that the seal in this Shinigami is. Wow. 4 Hokage, are we going to revive them next? Ha. If the first Hokage is resurrected, won't someone be able to deal with Uchiha Madara? And with the addition of the other 3 Hokage, it turns out that this is the opportunity for the coalition to win. Obito also suffered at the hands of the 4th Hokage. In this way, he can directly exchange the 2 opponents and concentrate on dealing with the 10 tails. Let's see what the situation is first. Maybe Orochimaru just wants to get back the souls that belong to his hands. Speaking of which, Orochimaru's sacrifice is too great. It's not worth it to use his life to remove this seal, even if it's to get back his soul. There are still people who doubt Orochimaru's ability to save his life. Every time everyone thought he was gone, he would appear alive again not long after. No matter how you think about it, he can't fall here. Shiki Fujin can actually be removed. Kushina looked surprised, but she quickly figured out the logic. The vitality of the Uzumaki clan is indeed very strong, but no matter how you look at it, it can't be compared with Orochimaru's ability to save his life. Besides, those who can be sealed by this trick must be enemies that they can't deal with. In this case, naturally no one will use their own life as a price to release the soul. Moreover, They did not use the means of soul bodies, so even if the seal was unlocked, it would have no effect, so it was not surprising that Kushina did not understand this. And the current situation is indeed developing as Orochimaru described. At the moment when the abdomen of the god of death was cut open, Orochimaru took back the souls of his hands, and at the same time, the 4 soul bodies sealed in it were released. Chapter 692. With the seal lifted, Orochimaru's life force suddenly weakened, so he quickly took off his mask, blood dripping from the corner of his mouth, and ordered Jugo and Sasuke to act according to the previous instructions. Jugo stretched out his hand and transferred the power of the cursed seal to Sasuke. At the cost of turning himself into a child, he forced 6 balls of white matter out of Sasuke's body, and soon 6 white Zetsu were formed. Damn, why? One of the white Zetsu asked unwillingly, and Orochimaru replied while panting, "You Hashirama cells, I have already figured out your details in the experiment, of course, including the way of perception." Sure enough, there are 6. It seems that Ifehi is quite cautious. Of course, some of this information was learned by Orochimaru when he recovered chakra from Kabuto, but there is no need to explain it to the white Zetsu here. What the hell is going on? How did those white guys hide on Sasuke? How did Jugo become a child again? This development is really unexpected. Orochimaru has already met Kabuto. I wonder what he thought after seeing Kabuto's appearance. I'm more curious about how Orochimaru survived. I remember Itachi disappeared directly after he lifted the impure world reincarnation. Didn't he release the seal of the Tenka sword to release him? Orochimaru released 6 white snakes to tie up 6 white Zetsu, and then put 4 of them on the ground in the ritual that had been arranged as sacrifices for the impure world reincarnation. Sujetsu, Jugo, the remaining 2 are up to you. Orochimaru ordered. Jugo held down a white Zetsu and sucked it dry to restore its original size, while Sujetsu opened the mouth of the last white Zetsu and waited for Orochimaru's action. Impure world reincarnation technique. Orochimaru shouted softly, and 4 souls fell into the bodies of 4 white Zetsu. As they screamed, countless dust gathered on them to create a brand new appearance. And Orochimaru also shed his skin into a white phosphorus snake at the moment of the impure world reincarnation technique, exempted from the cost of death and drilled into the body of the last white Zetsu. In a few breaths, he completely replaced the white Zetsu with his own image, and then looked at the 4 upright figures in front of him with eager eyes. The people who know everything, the Hokage of all generations. Well, it turns out that the impure world reincarnation requires sacrifices. It's just one more condition. The least valuable thing in this world is human life, especially for people like Orochimaru who have a weak sense of life. Did Jugo suck that white guy dry and become an adult again? I remember Kabuto seemed to say that this curse seal is actually a sage transformation. Could it be that Naruto also has this ability? As expected of Orochimaru, he can just change his body without paying you pay the price. Damn. Changing the body is easier than changing a pair of underwear, how scary. Nothing else matters now, the exciting moment is coming. 4 Hokage were resurrected at the same time. I never thought that such a scene would appear. All the previous Hokage actually stood together. I just want to ask, how can we lose the next war? Don't be too sure, the impure world Uchiha Madara might be stronger than when he was alive. After all, he didn't have the Samsara Eye when he fought the first Hokage. What about the 10 Tails? It's easier to deal with if no one is controlling him. Hashirama Senju, he was dragged back to the real world again, so Tobirama, I'm not saying anything bad about you. Tobirama Senju, brother, shut up. Hiruzen Sarutobi, I didn't expect that even I would be resurrected in this state, but if my old bones can play a role in the war situation, it's fine, but does Orochimaru really have no conspiracy? Minato, in addition to the chakra left in Naruto's body, there is actually a chance to meet his son, but it's a pity that it only happened on the sky, and now there shouldn't be anyone. Will Orochimaru-san unseal me for research purposes? Is that the first Hokage, Hashirama himself, known as the God of Ninjas? As Sujetsu exclaimed in disbelief, the 4 Hokage regained consciousness, and then the second Hokage, Senju Tobirama, understood the current situation at a glance, and said in a bad tone, "Is it the ninja named Orochimaru again?" The first generation, who did not react, subconsciously asked about the situation, and Sarutobi Hiruzen took over and expressed his guess. The Shiki Fujin technique that sealed us may have been unsealed, And then the impure world reincarnation was performed. That seal can be broken. Orochimaru, how did you do it? Minato asked curiously. Hearing this, Orochimaru said proudly, you underestimated me, Minato. Since this technique disappeared, I have been looking for the remains of the Uzumaki clan and studying the documents scattered around. Suddenly I want to interview the second Hokage. What does it feel like to be resurrected again and again by someone using your own ninjutsu? And it was the same person twice. I think the third Hokage should be in a worse mood. After all, the seal that he paid his life to complete was just broken, and the person who broke it was Orochimaru. Now even he is under the control of the other party. I don't know if the person sealed in the body of the god of death is conscious. If not, the fourth Hokage will probably be very confused now. Several Hokage were resurrected at the same time, and they were all Orochimaru, a traitor. It was done by the pill, yes, when the 4 generations of Naruto died, -1 hadn't defeated yet. Why is -1 so proud? Turning to look at Kaien Xiaozu, he said, the first generation of adults, it seems that we are reborn again in this era. Unexpectedly, Kaien Xiaozu did not care about the resurrection, but instead showed a vigilant expression like a child. A joyful expression was revealed. Wow. Actually the 4 generations. It seems that the village is also quite stable. Chapter 693. Hearing this, Minato said embarrassedly that he died before the third Hokage, so he didn't know the current situation in the village. Senju Hashirama was a little surprised, and then asked, then who is the fifth Hokage? It's your granddaughter Tsunade Haim. Orochimaru interrupted and answered. Senju Hashirama immediately showed a gloomy expression when he heard it, and murmured, Tsunade-chan. Is the village okay now? Are you worried about something? Minato was a little confused. Senju Hashirama replied with an embarrassed face, because she is the eldest granddaughter, I spoil her unreasonably. As a result, she even learned my gambling habits. That's really. The god of ninja is not what I imagined, it seems. Looking at Senju Hashirama who laughed cheerfully, Sujetsu's expression was a little speechless, and even the usually calm Orochimaru couldn't help sweating. This first generation Hokage seems a bit erratic. Wasn't he quite calm when he was first resurrected by the impure world reincarnation? Why is his expression so rich this time? Maybe the binding strength is not as high as before, but it does look a bit frivolous. Sujetsu's complaints are quite accurate. Even Orochimaru is sweating. The grandfather really understands his granddaughter's personality. Is he afraid that Tsunade will lose all Konoha? It turns out that the habit of big fat sheep is developed from childhood. Tsunade covered her face speechlessly, grinning and complaining to Hashirama Senju in the Pure Land. Grandpa, what are you talking about? Ignoring Hashirama Senju's antics, Tobirama Senju after feeling the state of his body, he said with an unhappy face, immortal reincarnation. You actually abused the ninjutsu I created. This ninjutsu is not too difficult, but you really shouldn't have created it in the first place. Orochimaru's voice was flat, but his words sounded like a mockery. Nidame, the policies you implemented and the ninjutsu you created have brought nothing but trouble to future generations, and this time is no exception. Are you going to attack Konoha again? Senju Tobirama's expression gradually turned cold, and Sarutobi Hiruzen looked unsightly. I clearly sealed your ability to cast spells at the cost of my life. How could this happen? This time you even resurrected me, your teacher, with the impure world reincarnation. Are you going to take revenge on Konoha? War is inevitable in any era. This is really not what it means to be a war. What a good ninjutsu. Senju Hashirama held his forehead helplessly, then pointed at Senju Tobirama with a proud face and taught him, Tobirama, so you should have done what I said at that time. Brother, don't talk too much, I'm talking to this kid. But. Shut up. With a sharp shout, Senju Hashirama lowered his hands with a pale face, leaving Sujetsu on the side even more speechless. The god of ninja has no prestige at all. Tisk, only Orochimaru can say this. Impure world reincarnation is not difficult. It feels like it's not difficult. If you don't believe me, let Konoha make impure world reincarnation public and see if I can use it successfully. Let's not talk about the difficulty of the technique for now, but there is one thing Orochimaru said is right. This is always the mess left by the second Hokage to the ninja world. When it comes to the art of reincarnation, it's never too careful. As a result, it was not difficult to get a good evaluation from Orochimaru. Do the first Hokage and the second Hokage usually get along like this? The first Hokage is too undignified. The second Hokage has a very tough attitude. Is it because of this character that he always regards Uchiha as a thorn in his side? At this time, Orochimaru said that he was no longer interested in destroying Konoha. He only arranged such a conversation at Sasuke's request. Facing 4 Hokage, Sasuke was not afraid at all. He even said in a somewhat impolite tone, "I am Uchiha Sasuke. I have something to ask you, Hokage." The third Hokage noticed Sasuke's existence, and after hearing the Uchiha surname, the second Hokage expressed his rejection without concealing his emotion. "Are you from Uchiha? I see. They are really a nest of snakes and rats." Hearing this, the first generation immediately reprimanded the second generation for not speaking like that. The second generation immediately refuted, but Sasuke had no intention of watching the quarrel between the two brothers. He looked at the third generation and said bluntly, "Don't talk about me first, third generation. Why did you let Itachi do that kind of thing? It seems that you already know. I killed Itachi to avenge Uchiha, and then he learned the truth from Afei and Danzo, and then I embarked on the road of revenge against Konoha, but I want you to tell me everything about Itachi in person. I'm really curious about what happened before. Why does Orochimaru seem to follow Sasuke's lead? It's really strange. Oh my god, Sasuke's attitude is even more arrogant than the second Hokage. After all, the initiative is on their side. Who made the 4 Hokage resurrected in the form of impure world reincarnation? I say, have you forgotten that even Uchiha Madara has the ability to remove the control of impure world reincarnation? Do you think that as the creator of this technique, the second Hokage will let Orochimaru manipulate him, especially now that they are in this state of free movement? The second Hokage's disgust for Uchiha is really undisguised. This expression is really stinky. Deliberately resurrecting 4 Hokage just to know the truth about Itachi? Hasn't this been heard several times from Afei, Danzo and Itachi before? Didn't Orochimaru say before that Sasuke wanted to confirm his current determination? Therefore, the third Hokage's answer is crucial. If he doesn't answer well, Sasuke might just destroy Konoha. After a moment of silence, the third Hokage began to tell about Itachi's past, including that he had the mind of a Hokage at the age of 7, killed his compatriots to stop the Uchiha rebellion, and went undercover in Zio as a traitor in exchange for the village's protection of Sasuke. Except for some details not mentioned, it was basically the same as what Sasuke knew. Sure enough, is it? After listening to the third Hokage's words, Sasuke's hanging heart was completely relieved. At this time, the second Hokage continued, "This is the cursed fate of the Uchiha, attempting to launch a coup. I expected this to happen, because Madara's followers never stopped back then." Chapter 694. However, Orochimaru did not give the second generation face, and bluntly stated that his series of actions, including the establishment of the Uchiha police force, were the root cause of the Uchiha rebellion. So the first generation seized the opportunity again and taught the second generation a lesson. Tobirama. How many times have I told you that you can't discriminate against the Uchiha clan like this? The second generation did not give in to this, and said righteously, "I gave them the job that only the Uchiha clan can do. It is also for the next Madara to appear, so that they can respond immediately. Brother, you also know that they are Uchiha. It is a clan born evil." The heart of the second generation Hokage is really dark enough. The old bottom is exposed, but he still doesn't think he did anything wrong. The Uchiha clan is so unlucky. Because of Uchiha Madara's matter, they have to be treated differently all the time, and even think it is natural. Even if they have invented the ninjutsu of impure world reincarnation, don't expect the second generation Hokage to be a kind-hearted person. What a clan born evil. Isn't this really a prejudice caused by the hostile relationship between Senju and Uchiha? But if you think about it carefully, there seems to be some signs in this regard. After all, you see, the last two enemies of the Fourth War were the two Uchiha, and the reasons for their war were more outrageous than the other. And Itachi, although the third Hokage said that he had the thinking of a Hokage, I think he is quite crazy, because normal people can't do things like exterminating a clan. Sasuke seems to have this aspect. He was simply driven crazy. If someone else experienced his suffering, they might be crazier than him. Sasuke looked at the comments that exposed his scars again with a dark face. After glancing at the expressionless Itachi, he pointed the spearhead at the second Hokage who regarded the Uchiha as a scourge. That second generation Hokage must have had a problem with the Uchiha, so he deliberately said that to slander us. How ridiculous. Ridiculous. Itachi didn't reply, but pursed his lips, thinking about the extreme personalities of those clansmen who had opened the Sharingan, thinking about his own actions, and thinking about the performance of Uchiha Madara and Obito. Maybe this is really the root of the Uchiha tragedy. Hearing this, Sasuke's expression instantly sank, and he asked coldly, "Second Hokage, let me ask you, what is Uchiha? What do you know?" Hearing this question, the second generation exhaled deeply and said, "The Uchiha and our Senju have a long history of fighting, and the two families are hostile." Sasuke interrupted him, "I know this, but what about the family you said is born evil? The Senju family regards love rather than magic as power. In contrast, the Uchiha family puts the power of magic first, but this is not the case." Facing everyone's puzzled eyes, the second generation began to talk about his long-term research results on Uchiha. The truth is, no family loves more deeply than the Uchiha, so the Uchiha sealed him up. Puff. What is the second generation Hokage talking about? Uchiha wave and love. Can there be a connection between them? Well, if we put aside the actions of Uchiha Madara, Uchiha Obito and Uchiha Itachi, and just look at their goals, it seems that it is okay to explain it with love. Tisk, it's really deep, so deep that the Uchiha clan was directly exterminated, and so deep that all mankind was about to be exterminated. We mortals are really not blessed with this kind of love, so please use it to torment others. I don't understand. Didn't you just say that the Uchiha clan is a naturally evil clan? Now why are you saying that their love is the deepest? These two words are one commendatory and one derogatory, right? It's better not to be too serious. Just like the saying that the Senju clan regards love rather than magic as power, it is just a propaganda slogan after all. How could other ninja clans agree with this statement, especially in the chaotic times in the past? Then the second generation began to explain the deep love of the Uchiha in detail. In simple terms, when the Uchiha lose their natural strong love, they will be invaded by stronger hatred, and in this process, the brain will release special chakra to stimulate the visual nerves. This is the process of opening the Sharingan, which is called the Eye of the Soul. The Sharingan will synchronize with the power of the heart, making the individual's strength grow rapidly, and the hatred in the heart will also increase. Most of the Uchiha people are delicate people. The strong emotions make most of the awakened people bound by darkness and fall into evil, just like Madara. My original intention was to integrate and guide the power of the Uchiha to contribute to the village, but since they have reached the point of self-destruction, there is nothing we can do about it. It can be regarded as a good thing they have done for the village. Well, it feels quite novel to explain the opening of the Sharingan in this way. No wonder the way to open the Mangekyo is to kill your best friend. It turns out that the essence is to exchange love for power. This way of improvement is too shameless. Love disappears and turns into stronger hatred. Hatred entangles and then falls into darkness. After falling into darkness, hatred increases, and then the strength is improved by stepping on the left foot and the right foot. To sum up, the stronger the Uchiha, the crazier they are, and the crazier they are, the stronger they are. Uchiha Madara is the strongest and craziest person. No wonder he would achieve peace by destroying all mankind. With this trait, coupled with the pressure of the external environment, isn't it obvious that the root cause of the Uchiha tragedy is obvious? What can the second Hokage do to shirk responsibility? It's also difficult to be the second Hokage. If you leave it alone, you may worry that another Uchiha Madara will appear. Strict discipline will also force them. They are in a difficult position. What a sophistry. Uchiha Madara smiled coldly. After all, Konoha is only the Konoha of the Senju, the Konoha of the Ino Shikajo, the Konoha of Sarutobi, and the Konoha of other ninja clans. The Uchiha has never been one of them, so the bastard Tobirama's ideas will be passed down. You know the process of opening the Sharingan very well, and you have done a lot of research on the Uchiha. The upper beam is not straight, and the lower beam is crooked. This is why the rats like Danzo dared to set their sights on the Uchiha later, so everything is your fault, Senju Tobirama. Danzo, if you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 695. The second generation spoke bluntly, and the first generation couldn't stand it again. Tobirama, don't say that. The one who asked you questions is just a simple Uchiha child. The most important thing is the village. The village is the key. Big brother, don't you even understand this? Looking at the two people arguing again, Sasuke opened the Mangekyo and said coldly, "It doesn't matter, I'm not simple, nor a child." The second generation looked at the Mangekyo and fell into deep thought. Sasuke looked at the first generation. First generation Hokage, I ask you, what is a village, and what is a ninja? Village and ninja. Itachi, even though he was used by Konoha, he still used his life to protect the village, and was proud of his identity as a Konoha ninja until his death. For this, he did not hesitate to kill his compatriots and swear to protect this village. What is this village? And what is the ninja that caused all this? I want to hear your answer, and then draw my own conclusion. Sasuke closed his Sharingan and said bluntly to several Hokage, is it revenge on Konoha, or? Haha, I don't know if the first generation Hokage really hugged Uchiha. Are you still dissatisfied, or are you going to take the opportunity to scold the second Hokage, hoping to save face? That being said, the second Hokage has no intention of correcting himself, so the first Hokage seems to have no dignity, and is like a child who is making trouble. Sasuke is still brave. Is it really okay to provoke him so directly, saying that he wants to destroy Konoha in front of the Hokage? What kind of questions are Sasuke asking? It's getting more and more confusing. What exactly does he want to do? I want to get to know Itachi more and more, to see if it can help him. If you can understand him, then destroy Konoha. If you can't. As soon as these words came out, the second generation, who kept his arms around his chest, moved his fingers, and instantly burst out with a strong killing intent, which almost turned into tangible momentum and pressed on Sasuke and the others. Revenge for Konoha. Born evil Uchiha brat, I will do it myself. Sasuke's face changed slightly, and he took a defensive posture as if facing a great enemy. Fortunately, at this time, the first generation turned his head and glared at the second generation, and suppressed the second generation's killing intent with a stronger momentum. The ground and the wall couldn't even withstand the pressure and produced large cracks. Jugo's face changed drastically and he stood in front of Sasuke. Suigetsu was so scared that he almost melted into a pool of water. Orochimaru also made a seal and was ready to intervene at any time. However, the Senju brothers in the confrontation ignored their reactions. Under the stern command of the first generation, the second generation put down his fingers and restrained his momentum. I know, don't burst chakra like that, big brother. The second generation Hokage was stimulated. There is no way. Sasuke is so arrogant, it feels unreasonable not to teach him a lesson. Hiss. Is the second generation Hokage so strong? Just relying on his momentum makes Sasuke and others so nervous. There is no simple ninja who can survive from the Warring States period, let alone those who sit on the position of Hokage and develop forbidden techniques such as impure world reincarnation. Wow. The first generation Hokage is even more exaggerated. Because of that antics just now, I almost forgot his name, the god of ninja. Wow. The first Hokage really got serious, and the second Hokage immediately gave in. So he was so cowardly before, just to give in to his younger brother. Is it just a burst of chakra? I can feel a sense of oppression through the screen. Ahohahoha, oops, sorry. The first Hokage laughed heartily to ease the atmosphere, and then faced the frightened eyes of the people around him and exclaimed, but by the way, Sasuke, you have a good brother, a better ninja than me. I can talk to you about the village, but it will be very long. At this time, Orochimaru expressed the hope that the first Hokage would keep the long story short, because the ninja world is currently in the midst of a war, and informed the people on the opposite side that Uchiha Madara has been resurrected and is trying to destroy all ninjas. Hearing this, the four Hokage were shocked at the same time. Minato immediately extended his perception and quickly captured two familiar chakras. This is Naruto and Kurama's chakra, so that's it. You succeeded, Naruto. And they are fighting side by side at this moment. At the 2 o'clock direction, I sensed a strong chakra. The second generation Hokage, who also sensed the situation, stepped forward and walked towards the wall. After a more careful distinction, he came to the conclusion, it seems that he is not lying. He can indeed sense Madara's chakra. So the third generation Hokage said that he would rush to the battlefield immediately, but Orochimaru was unmoved and insisted on completing this time-first dialogue, and said frankly that if Sasuke is not satisfied, he might manipulate several people to attack Konoha. When he is serious, he is really serious, and when he is not serious, He is really not serious. The contrast is really big. Finally, the war is mentioned. How long are these guys going to talk about it? Hurry up and help. Oh my god, what's wrong with Orochimaru? Does he really regard himself as Sasuke's subordinate? He even said I listened to Sasuke. Where is your pride as a Sannin? Be a little tougher. Are the fourth Hokage and the second Hokage also perception ninjas? They can actually sense the situation on the battlefield in Konoha. By the way, the fourth Hokage called the Nine Tails with Kirama, right? Why did he know the name of the Nine Tails? Doesn't he have half of the Nine Tails in his body? Maybe he received the situation on the other side synchronously after his resurrection? Not mentioning the ugly face of the third generation, the second generation is very confident about this, that Orochimaru, you misunderstood something. The accuracy of the impure world reincarnation this time is higher than the last time, so we almost retain the strength close to that in life, so your impure world reincarnation can't restrain me at all, and after all, the person who invented this ninjutsu is me. The second generation cracked the wall with a light press, but unexpectedly, just when he was about to leave for the battlefield, the whole person suddenly froze in place. The first generation of Hokage saw at a glance that it was his cells that played a role in strengthening the restraint, so after praising the third generation for training a powerful ninja, he laughed at the second generation who couldn't move, although he controlled the second generation of Hokage in an instant. When the first generation of Hokage's eyes moved to him, Orochimaru still subconsciously tensed his body, because he knew very well that his control might not have any effect on the first generation. Chapter 696. Fortunately, the first generation had no intention of taking action, and even took the initiative to speak in comfort. Don't worry, Orochimaru, I'd better untie the knot that binds this child first. Although I don't know what choice this Uchiha child will make after listening to my words, if I ignore it, he will definitely become the next Madara in the future. In this way, even if the war is won, it will be meaningless. The first generation sat down cross-legged while speaking. Okay, where should I start? By the way, when it comes to villages and ninjas, first of all, we have to start with Uchiha and Senju. Hey, Uchiha Madara, an outsider, can untie the ninjutsu, but the inventor, the second generation Hokage, is controlled. Ha. The key is that he just said those words arrogantly, but he was controlled by Orochimaru the next second. It's Hashirama's cells again. This thing is too omnipotent. It seems that no matter what happens, it will be involved. The first generation Hokage is still powerful. Orochimaru knew that he couldn't control it before he made a move. The thing that strengthens control is called Hashirama's cells. The first generation Hokage is called Senju Hashirama. Use his cells to control him? What are you thinking? Ha. You didn't expect it, Tobirama. You were actually tricked by the monkey's disciple. Senju Hashirama laughed. For him, it was a happy thing to see his second brother, who is always serious, suffer a setback. Senju Tobirama kept his unshakable posture and snorted coldly. In his heart, he wrote down Senju Hashirama, Sarutobi Hiruzen and Orochimaru in his little notebook. Don't let me seize the opportunity. The scene changes to a battle that everyone knows about. The first Hokage, holding a giant sword, and Uchiha Madara, holding an Uchiha fan and sickle, engage in a life and death battle under the moon. The Nine Tails, controlled by the power of the pupil, launched an unstoppable attack under the manipulation of Uchiha Madara, but was firmly bound by the wooden dragon released by the first generation. He had no choice but to spit out the tailed beast ball to smash the wooden dragon and hit the first generation. Unexpectedly, the first generation directly transformed into a huge wooden man of the same size as the Nine Tails, not only blocking the attack with one hand, but also holding the tailed beast ball and hitting it back. In this regard, Uchiha Madara naturally would not let the first generation attack. He took the attack with the double swords of Susanoo. The detonated tailed beast ball exploded and flattened everything within a few kilometers. The only ones left were Uchiha Madara, who used the powerful Susanoo, and the first Hokage who used the ranking technique. So the two sides started fighting again. Uchiha Madara controlled the Nine Tails to chop down the giant sword. The first generation transformed into two giant hands and took the slash with a bare-handed defense. Then he continued with the bag technique. Several giant hands rose from the surrounding area to grab the Nine Tails, but were instantly disintegrated by Uchiha Madara's fierce horizontal slash, and several surrounding low mountains were also cut in half. The battle between the first Hokage and Uchiha Madara, could it be? Oh. The final battle, right? It starts from here. Tisk tisk, although I already knew it before, how did the first Hokage win with a lineup like Uchiha Madara and the Ninetales? Damn. He can easily control the Ninetales by just conjuring a wooden dragon. It's easier than catching a puppy. As expected of the god of ninja, this kind of attack can be done with a clap of your hands. Hey. What did I see? The first Hokage conjured a giant, then grabbed the tailed beast ball and hit it back. Let's not talk about this huge wooden man that can rival the size of the tailed beasts. After all, the third Hokage also has a similar stone man technique, but it's too exaggerated to grab the tailed beast ball with bare hands. That thing is the ultimate move of the tailed beast, not a ball that can be held in the hand. Uchiha Madara also has this move, turning Susanoo into the armor of the Ninetales, and Naruto and the others are of the same lineage. Well, in chronological order, Naruto and Sasuke are the imitators. Both are wood release, but Yamato's wood release was easily cut off by Sasuke's Kusanagi sword, while the first Hokage's wood release could even block explosions of that scale. The gap is a bit. Yamato wiped his sweat, comparing me with the first Hokage. How can I be worthy of it? I am now finally convinced that Uchiha Madara was indeed letting him off when fighting the 5 Kages. Look here, he cut off several nearby mountains with one sword. The scale of the first Hokage's ninjutsu is amazing. He can easily create a palm as big as the Ninetales. At this time, the first Hokage noticed the damage caused by the two's actions to the surroundings, so he stopped the offensive and moved towards the seaside. Seeing this, Uchiha Madara controlled the Ninetales to chase after him, and combined the tailed beast ball with the chakra sword in his hand to play a blow as big as the Ninetales in his hand. The sword attack, the first generation did not dare to underestimate it, and directly summoned the 5th level of Rashomon to change the trajectory of the attack, so that the attack crossed the sea and hit an island not far away. Hashirama, I haven't fought you seriously for a long time. You should know that I am different from before. Uchiha Madara was full of fighting spirit. When the first generation heard it, he immediately clasped his hands together and faced the huge Ninetales, and advised earnestly. Everything we have done so far, our efforts, do you want them to go to waste, Madara? This fight between you and me is meaningless and will only bring harm to the village. So stop it. I don't want to kill you. You mean, you can kill me anytime you want? Uchiha Madara asked coldly. The first generation hurriedly explained, no. I mean, we are friends. I have thrown everything to the other side. Uchiha Madara roared. The first generation looked at his stubborn look, and finally made up his mind. He entered the sage mode and burst out a huge amount of chakra. The next second, the 1,000-handed Buddha statue covering the sky and the sun rose from the ground. It was the strongest ninjutsu of the first generation of Hokage, Sage Method, Wood Release, True 1,000 Hands. I'm going to attack, Madara. Come on, Hashirama. Both have the Ninetales and Susanoo, but Uchiha Madara is in the form of a beast, while Naruto and Sasuke are in the form of a samurai. This is considered progress, isn't it? You can just stab with a knife, and the tailed beast ball can be used like this? This chakra control is too strong. Wow. The familiar Rashomon, from Sakuon's 1 gate, to Orochimaru's 3 gates, and then to the current 5 gates, is there an upper limit to this move? Even if there is no upper limit, do you think you have the strength to match or even surpass the first Hokage? Even he can only summon 5 gates, what else do you want to do? Chapter 697. What's the use of this move? Before, the 3 gates couldn't stop the tailed beast balls released by Naruto's 4-tailed beast formation. Now there are only 2 more gates, and they definitely can't handle the attacks released by the perfect Ninetales. Why are you in such a hurry? Look, it's just to change the trajectory of the attack. Why do their attacks seem so random, but the power is so ridiculous? The first Hokage is not very good at talking. At this time, he actually said to Uchiha Madara, I won't kill you. With Uchiha Madara's personality, it would be strange if you would give up, throw something to the other side. What is Uchiha Madara talking about? Wow. The first Hokage can also use Senjutsu, hiss. He was already strong enough, and now he has been strengthened by Senjutsu. How strong can he be? Shit. What the hell is this? My god, this 1,000-armed Buddha statue, the Ninetail is not even 1/10 the size of it. This is comparable to the size of the 10-tail. A move like this can be performed by human power, the god of ninja. No. I think it may be bigger than the 10-tail, because the Ninetail is now a complete form. not just half like during the Fourth War. I can't accept it. Is the first Hokage really a human? Even if he is the descendant of the Six-Path Sage, it's too much? Using such a move, now you know why the lineup of Uchiha Madara and the Nine-Tail lost? With this trick, gods and Buddhas can kill gods and Buddhas. Otsutsuki Momoshiki, come out and see the power of a true god. Amid the roars of the two, the scene changed. A stone crossed the water, bounced several times and sank into the water. Next time, I must throw it to the other side. The black-haired boy with a hedgehog had picked up another stone, looking unconvinced. At this time, a stone flew out from behind him, rubbing the water surface and easily fell to the other side of the stream. The hedgehog-headed boy turned around and saw a black-haired boy with a watermelon head standing behind him, saying with a smug look on his face, when throwing, slightly upward, "This is the trick. Of course I know this kind of trivial matter, and I can also throw it over if I am serious." "Who are you?" the hedgehog-headed boy, who did not intend to give in, said in a very aggressive tone. To this, the watermelon-headed boy did not care and grinned. "For now, we are opponents in playing water skipping, but I have already thrown it to the other side. This is the first time I met Madara," the voice of the first generation narrated, revealing the identities of the two boys. The boy Uchiha Madara, who couldn't pee because someone was standing behind him, and the boy Senju Hashirama, who was sincere but extremely mean, met each other in this ordinary game of skipping stones under the guidance of fate, hiding their surnames from each other. Why did it end here? Where is the rest? Damn. When is this memory from? This hedgehog-headed boy, although his expression is a little different, is undoubtedly Uchiha Madara, so this watermelon-headed boy is the first Hokage. This is really, I can't tell at all, memories of childhood. Did the chat with Sasuke start from this place? Then when did it start? Calm down, calm down. Anyway, as long as the first Hokage can rush to the battlefield, he can definitely give the enemy a hard time with his true thousand hands. So the most important thing now is to quickly convince Sasuke to agree to let a few Hokage help. Well, do you think that with the strength shown by the first Hokage so far, even if Sasuke disagrees, it will only take one move? Before, I thought that after Uchiha Madara had the Samsara Eye, the first Hokage could not beat him. Now it seems that he is more than capable of doing so. A mere Uchiha Madara dared to disobey the first Hokage who has true thousand hands, so that's what the sentence about throwing it to the other side meant. Because the fate of the two began with skipping stones, Uchiha Madara deliberately said that. It's too loyal. The personalities of these two people when they were young are so different from when they grew up. It turns out that as long as someone stands behind Uchiha Madara, he can't urinate. As long as you can make use of this weakness, it won't be difficult to defeat him. Only in the teenage period, if you go back to that era, you'd be considered capable if you can survive for 7 days. How dare you dream of competing with Uchiha Madara? Although it was just a joke between the two of them, it also shows the cruelty of that era. They didn't even dare to tell each other their surnames. The ninja clans at that time were much more confrontational than they are now, not to mention the long-standing rivalries between the Senju and Uchiha clans, so one could never be too careful. Senju Hashirama pulled the corner of his mouth. He should have felt nostalgic and happy to see Uchiha Madara when he was a child, but when he thought of the background of that era, especially what happened after that, Senju Hashirama couldn't laugh out loud like usual. Uchiha Madara also felt depressed, but in addition to the background of the era, part of the reason was because of the exposure of embarrassing things. Senju Hashirama, who was so mean, why did he even mention that kind of thing? The two parties who had informed each other of their names ended this brief first meeting. Senju Hashirama returned to the gathering place of the Senju clan with inexplicable excitement. However, under the continuous war, this mood did not last long until the day when his younger brother Senju Kama died. Looking at the coffins buried in this oil and listening to his father Senju Fukama's cold words about war, Hashirama couldn't hide his anger and gritted his teeth and shouted, "Kama is only 7 years old. Such a war will last until how long? Until all enemies are eliminated. Creating a world without war will require a difficult process," Senju Butsukin responded coldly. Upon hearing this, Hashirama's face was gloomy and he asked, "Even if it means sacrificing children?" Senju Butsukin glared, punched Hashirama in the face and cursed, "You are not allowed to insult Koirama. He died gloriously as a ninja who could stand on his own, not a child." The first generation of Hokage had more than 2 brothers. In order to avoid the extinction of bloodline, people in that era gave as many children as possible. And every family had many brothers and sisters. Tisk tisk, listen to what the first generation of Hokage's father said. Is this the philosophy of the Senju who call themselves the Love Clan? It's really funny. Chapter 698. Since when has being called a child become an insult, and the target is only 7 years old? That was the way it was in that era, because children meant that they had no ability to take care of themselves, and were the biggest burden to the ninja clan who were always at war. With blood flowing from the corner of his mouth, Hoshirama rubbed his face and watched his father's back as he turned around. He looked at his 2 younger brothers who came up to him and cared about him, and he was immediately furious. He ignored his father's usual dignity and mocked loudly. What beloved Senju clan? What independent ninja? It's just that the adults ganged up on a child and killed him. What we did is no different from the Uchiha. This is respect for the enemy. Even if it's a baby, as long as he holds a weapon, he should be treated as an enemy. Raising a child to be an independent ninja is the love of a parent. Do you have to die to be independent? Killing people and being killed, you don't even know when you will be hated by others. Because it's too dangerous, you can't even announce your family. This kind of ninja world is absolutely wrong. Hoshirama accused harshly. So you are just a brat. The enraged Senju Batsuma turned around and was about to teach Hoshirama a lesson. Fortunately, Senju Tobirama showed up in time to end the quarrel between the two. How old was the first Hokage at that time? When everyone was thinking about destroying the enemy, he raised an opposing opinion. Should we say that he is worthy of being the pinnacle of the future ninja world? He has been so different from ordinary people since he was a child. No, this is not the way to brag. Anyone who hates war can say such an opinion. The key is not how to say it, but how to do it. This is the factor that will make the future first Hokage successful. The ninja village system? It can indeed be said to be an unprecedented reform. Ridiculous. What's there to say about this failed system? Have you forgotten the 3 previous ninja world wars? The scale of the war was larger and larger, and the casualties were definitely more than those in the Warring States period. I admit this, but it is better than the Warring States period when wars never stopped and the future was uncertain. Apart from the 3 wars, the ninja world has also had decades of peace. Ridiculous. The peace you are talking about only belongs to those big ninja villages. For us small ninja villages, we are thankful that we can recover a little bit in the past few decades of licking our wounds, and even this is much better than those ninja villages that have completely disappeared, because at least we are still alive. Stop talking, stop talking. Besides, it feels like Nagato's Shinra Tensei is about to hide us. After that, the 3 brothers gathered together, and Tobirama also expressed his thoughts at this time. The adults are all idiots. If you want to end the war, why not make an agreement with the enemy and stop the war? But in this case, those brothers who were killed, our companions died in vain. Senju Itama did not agree with his idea. Tobirama frowned and continued, you will die if you say that. You and the adults are too impulsive. In the future, ninjas only need to suppress their emotions, formulate strict rules and abide by them, and avoid unnecessary fights. A truly reasonable agreement, mutual alliance, will it work? Hoshirama murmured, and Tobirama's idea planted a seed of change in his heart. Time continues to move forward, and scenes of corpses flash across the sky, accompanied by the voice of the first generation, revealing the cruelty of the war in that era. In the Warring States period, the average life expectancy of ninjas and civilians was around 30 years old, and the reason for such a low average is that too many young children died. Senju Itama died under the attack of Uchiha, bringing endless pain to Hoshirama. It turns out that the rule that ninjas must suppress their emotions was proposed by the second Hokage. This is the source of all evil. As expected of the second Hokage, although the ninjas of the Warring States period were ruthless to their enemies, at least their feelings for their own kind were normal. Once this rule was introduced, even the feelings between the same people had to give way to the mission. Although it greatly improved the completion rate of the mission, it also caused many tragedies. No wonder Orochimaru said that the second Hokage left a mess for the ninja world. It is undeniable that the second Hokage's ideas were flawed, but compared with the universal values at the time, it was an improvement. As long as you abandon your emotions, you will not breed hatred because of the death of your clan members. In a sense, it is also a way to suppress war. Even the children of the great ninja clan like Senju died at any time. They have a deeper understanding of the cruelty of that era. Who would have thought that Senju and Uchiha, both descendants of the Six-Path Sage, were the descendants of the ninja world, the 2 most serious ninja clans in the world? Still the small river, Hoshirama sat alone on the river bank, quietly watching the river flow. At this time, Madara came from behind Hoshirama and saw that he was in a low mood. Madara insisted that he was angry to death by Hoshirama's attitude. After continuous questioning, he got the following answer: "My brother is dead. I came here because looking at the river, the sadness in my heart seemed to be washed away." Hoshirama wiped his tears and turned his head to look at Madara. "Your name is Madara, right? I guess you may have the same feeling. Do you have brothers and sisters?" "There are 5 children in my family. It used to be." Madara leaned over to pick up a stone, and walked to the riverside under Hoshirama's empathetic eyes. "We are ninjas, and we don't know when we will die. If there is any way to prevent both sides from dying, it is to be open-hearted and honest with the enemy and become sworn brothers. But this is impossible, because human hearts are unpredictable. No one can see through the hearts of others, so we can never really understand others," Madara said, throwing the stone in his hand towards the river. Hearing this, Hoshirama's expression was deep. "Be honest with each other, is it really impossible? Who knows, but I often think about it here, hoping to find a way." The stone flew to the other side, and Madara said meaningfully, "This time I seem to have finally found the right direction. Not only you, I also threw it over." It should have been a very sad atmosphere, but it was made into this kind of neither good nor bad by the actions of the first generation of Hokage. To be honest, the character of the young Uchiha Madara is quite good, and he can resist beating him up. Are there 5 brothers on Uchiha Madara's side? Chapter 699. Why? Are you curious about who his brothers are? Unfortunately, apart from Uchiha Izuna, who is relatively famous, I have never heard of the others. No, I am curious about how they can advance to the eternal Mangekyo if all 5 of them have Mangekyo. They cannot pair up. Damn. Are you obsessive? Why do you care about this kind of thing? Uchiha Madara's method of stopping the war is quite radical. Why did he go from hostile relations to the level of being honest with each other all of a sudden? What is the process in between? It is because he has always held this idea of solving the problem once and for all that he would you come up with a crazy plan like infinite Tsukuyomi. You haven't done it yet, don't jump to the conclusion that it can't be done. Learn from Naruto. Didn't he open up to the tailed beasts even when no one was optimistic about him? Let me say here, getting along with the tailed beasts may be much easier than getting along with humans. After all, humans are the most complicated creatures in the world, and it is impossible for them to be honest with each other under normal circumstances. There is actually another silly kid who wants to change this war-torn era besides me. In addition to being surprised, I think that Madara is a revelation from God. Since then, we have met often, without telling each other our surnames, and have been learning ninja skills and discussing topics about the future, accompanied by the voice of the first generation. The scenes of the 2 boys interacting and learning from each other flash one after another. Overall, Madara's strength is slightly inferior, but he has made up for this gap with his varied means. As for the discussion about the future, the 2 who could not see the way forward for the time being were not discouraged, because they both knew that they had to gain enough strength to be qualified to decide the future. They had to overcome each other's weaknesses in the process of growing up, such as not being able to pee when someone stood behind them and being depressed at any time. It is both lucky and unfortunate to meet such an opponent. They are destined to be entangled for a lifetime. The most important thing is to be evenly matched. If one side can crush the other, perhaps those things in the future will not happen. Even each other's weaknesses are so abstract. Think about the first generation of Hokage who is still prone to depression after growing up. Maybe the grown-up Uchiha Madara still can't accept that someone can stand behind him. On this day, the 2 had a rock climbing competition. After the competition, the 2 sat on the edge of the cliff and looked at the forest below. While chatting, they suddenly compared their eyesight, so that Madara almost let slip and exposed his Sharingan. Although Madara fooled the situation at the first time, this incident still brought back his sad past. Madara could not forgive himself for not taking good care of his brother. Hoshirama felt the same way and asked, "Are all your brothers gone?" "No, there is another brother." Madara clenched his fists and said firmly, "No matter what happens, I will protect this brother." Hearing this, Hoshirama smiled lightly, then suddenly raised his hands and said excitedly, "It's decided, let's build a village that belongs to us here. In this village, children don't have to fight each other, and build a school, train them, let them grow up and become stronger, Everyone can choose tasks according to their personal abilities, and the task levels must be reasonably distinguished. In this village, there is no need to send children to the battlefield to fight for their lives. How, you are the only one who would say such stupid things. Madara subconsciously mocked, but Hashirama didn't care and asked, what do you think? Well, it's really good to think about it. If I build such a village, I can protect my brother in this place where I can see everything. Madara said with his heart. Hashirama, who got the approval, couldn't help but smile excitedly, and Madara also grinned. That place is the place that will become Konoha village later. At that time, I made up my mind to endure and work hard to see such a future. The voice of the first generation sounded, bringing an end to the conversation between the two. When I heard the tone in which Uchiha Madara mentioned his brother, I knew that things would not turn out well. The more resolute his attitude is now, the more he will be upset when he cannot protect his brother later. According to the theory of the second Hokage, the more Uchiha Madara loses, the stronger he will be, but his personality will also become more extreme. In this situation, it would be hard to expect him not to go crazy. The prototype of the ninja village system was proposed at this time. I thought we had to wait until the first Hokage grew up a little bit. It feels a bit ironic to listen to his description now. He did achieve the other points, but only the matter of sending children to the battlefield alone has never changed from the beginning to the end. Although the first generation of Hokage is called the God of Ninja, he is only a powerful human being after all. Limited by the times and cognition, it is good enough for him to come up with such an idea. Do you really think he can predict everything and do everything? Although it is still inevitable to send children to the battlefield, it is already better than the situation of all people as soldiers in the Warring States period. What we descendants can do is to move forward step by step towards this goal. If you want to achieve it overnight, what is the difference between you and Uchiha Madara? Tisk, that Uchiha Madara, he is obsessed with his younger brother. The contrast is really big. The wonderful relationship between the Uchiha brothers, it is really difficult for others to understand their obsession with the brothers. Obsession? Isn't it natural for an elder brother to protect his younger brother? But I can't even do this simplest thing. What's the point of my determination at that time? Uchiha Madara's face was gloomy. The memories of the first generation brought back those past events that he didn't want to remember. Coupled with a strong suspicion of the infinite Tsukuyomi at the moment, a thick shadow was cast over Uchiha Madara's heart. Senju Hashirama also showed a somewhat depressed expression. Although the barrage had given a reasonable explanation for his actions, the fact was that he did not achieve the goal of preventing children from going to the battlefield, and the ninja world did produce many tragedies because of the emergence of the ninja village system. However, compared to Uchiha Madara, who could not get out of the haze, Senju Hashirama, who believed in the idea of trusting future generations and leaving future matters to future generations, had a much easier time to recover his mood. When we are alive, we can decide the direction of the future, but since we are all dead, we should not disturb the development of the present world. I hope you can understand this as soon as possible. Madara, Chapter 700. Time flies, and the two continue to work hard for their planned future by the river. However, everything in the world cannot be as expected, let alone two young men who cannot even control their own destiny. On this day, Hashirama, who had just finished training, was brought to his father by Tobirama, and learned from the latter the news he least wanted to hear. The friend who shared the same goal with him was from the Uchiha, the old enemy of the Senju. In fact, Hashirama had already noticed this, but because of his pursuit of his ideals, he had been subconsciously avoiding this. Therefore, when he heard that his father was going to let him take the opportunity to explore intelligence or even kill Madara, Hashirama's first reaction was to refuse. However, under the righteousness of the clan, Hashirama was forced by his father to take the task before he could say his refusal, and met Madara again by the river the next day. It was as expected. With such an undisguised relationship, it was only a matter of time before it was discovered. I was quite surprised that the first Hokage seemed to have guessed Uchiha Madara's identity. Although I don't know how long they have been together, in that era, the situation of the surrounding ninja clans would be generally known, not to mention the Senju and Uchiha clans. As long as one of them takes on a task, the other will definitely take on the opposing task. It is not difficult to guess Uchiha Madara's identity. In this case, Uchiha Madara has probably guessed the identity of the first Hokage. On both sides of the stream, Madara said calmly that he would skip stones first. Hashirama did not object to this. Following Madara's suggestion, The two of them each threw a stone into the water, which then fell into each other's hands. Unexpectedly, the moment they saw the stone in their hands, the two who had been expressionless suddenly showed astonishment. Madara was the first to react. He turned around and shouted to Hashirama, "Hashirama, I'm sorry, we can't play together today. I suddenly remembered that I have something to do." Is that so? Then I'll go back today." Hashirama saw this and quickly followed his words. The two of them each took the stone with the word warning written on it and turned around and evacuated without hesitation. But before the two of them could get away, the stalker who noticed their strangeness jumped out from behind them and fell on the river. It was the father and brothers of both parties, Senju Batsuma and Senju Tobirama, as well as Uchiha Tajima and Uchiha Izuna. Wow, they actually used stones to remind each other, and both of them did it at the same time. According to the current ninja standards, this is a serious violation, not to mention the era when the ninja clan was supreme. If you are not careful, you will be regarded as a traitor and executed by your clan. If they don't have this kind of mentality, it won't be their turn to create the future. I'm not surprised that the first Hokage did this, but I'm surprised that Uchiha Madara did the same. I can only say that before they lose love, Uchiha people are still very normal, and even more sentimental than ordinary people. Maybe. What a coincidence, the other side is also ambushed by a father and son. If one side does not arrange an ambush at this time, will the two of them stop their father and prevent him from chasing the other person? In that case, it would be really risking everything. Take the father of the first Hokage as an example. It is impossible for him to turn a blind eye to such an obvious betrayal of the ninja clan. After a simple greeting, the old rivals Senju Fusuma and Uchiha Tajima, with their sons, attacked each other without the slightest hesitation, because even a moment of hesitation was enough to decide life and death. At the same time, the two adults who were equally matched also knew that if they wanted to win, they had to use the other's children to create flaws, so while attacking each other, they also attacked the other's children. This scene immediately made Hashirama and Madara, who reacted from behind, burst into tears. While shouting to stop, they threw the stones in their hands without thinking and knocked down the ninja tools of the other side. The two stones carrying each other's feelings sank into the water at the same time. After the instant attack and defense, the two sides pulled away and resumed the confrontation. Hashirama and Madara returned to the field and stood in front of their respective brothers. Compared with Hashirama, who still maintained a trace of calm, Madara was extremely angry at this time and shouted, "I will not forgive anyone who dares to hurt my brother. If one side is a little stronger, it will not be such a mirror-like situation. It's too symmetrical." Such a fierce attack and defense. The ninjas of the Warring States period were all, "Do you fight like this when you don't agree with something? If you relax for a moment, you will immediately suffer defeat." I understand why it is said that ninjas who can survive from that era should not be underestimated. Zabuza, who thinks he is a benchmark of ninjas, would definitely not be able to get along with him in that era. Haha, why did you suddenly mention Zabuza? You also said that he is a self-proclaimed benchmark of ninjas, but the fact is that that guy has much richer emotions than ordinary ninjas. You can't use him as an example in any way. Well, let's put aside the rich emotions. Compared with the practice of fighting at the slightest disagreement in the Warring States period, Zabuza's habit of explaining and bragging is the biggest problem. This is not just him. It seems that ninjas in the new era have some bad habits in this regard. Tisk, these images on the sky screen are full of hidden meanings. The two stones were deliberately shown sinking to the bottom. Is it to express that the friendship between the first Hokage and Uchiha Madara has come to an end? You think too much? It's just an ordinary scene. After staring at each other silently for a few seconds, Madara restrained his anger and looked regretful. Hashirama, those beautiful visions that only fools believe in, it seems, will never be realized. Facing Hashirama's unwilling eyes, Madara sincerely said, "Although the time is not long, I am very happy during this period." Hashirama, Uchiha Tajima, was not interested in the exchange between the two. All his energy was focused on analyzing and judging the enemy's combat power. However, after Madara clearly stated that Hashirama was stronger than him, he temporarily gave up the idea of continuing to fight. Looking at Madara, who turned around and left without hesitation, Hashirama couldn't help but shouting, "Madara, you didn't give up, right? You and I finally have the same idea." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.